Okay. Okay, testing how it looks on Streamlabs. Audio seems good. Yeah, okay, and the music stopped playing. Oh, that's alright. Okay then. So, everything looks good. Let me just make sure one more thing. Okay, so let me start the show. And, oh, I already messed up. I didn't have Discord being shown. Of course. Of course, nothing would... Of course I would mess up at the last minute. But that's okay. That can be fixed. Okay. I'm going to unmute the rest of the cast members now. Okay, come on. Work with me. Okay, you guys are unmuted. So, okay. So, welcome. Welcome to 2 Cents Live. This time, we're going to be discussing a favorite franchise of mine. Something to do with plastic toys that become robots and can also become vehicles by Hasbro. We're talking about Transformers. And as you can see right here...
More than meets the eye.
Now, as you can see right here, if this camera will show, I am building my favorite Transformer, the Gundam Mark II. Yes, I made the joke. Deal with it. So,
it would have been better if you were building the Zeta, because that actually transforms.
Yeah, but I don't have the funds for the Zeta at the moment, so that is unfortunate. And
Zeta's better.
Well, yeah, because
Zeta... Judo Ashta is a Chad.
Well, Judo's double Zeta.
Yeah, double Zeta, and Judo is a Chad. That's all I'm saying.
And apparently Camille really is autistic. It's not a joke. There's actually, according to not an actual line where Camille says, "What's wrong with you? I'm autistic." Oh, okay. So that's always fun to. It's always fun to know how you're one of the best Gundam pilots out there is just autistic.
Great representation.
Yes, great representation right there. We need more representation for autistic people. Don't you agree? I mean, come on, the Predator did a fantastic job. I'm sorry, Xenonic. Okay.
And Xenonic is just silent.
Okay. Oh, I didn't have any music playing. Let me fix that.
I bet Xenonic is getting something to eat.
Play some. Okay, Genghis, play some. Go boy, come boy.
Well, I would, but then I would get copyrighted, so we just gotta stick with the royalty-free jazz. So, but it's all right. So yeah, so we're gonna be discussing Transformers today. Before we jump right into our topics, I guess we might as well ask the big question with this subject. How did you guys find out about Transformers? Like, what was your first exposure to this beautiful franchise that I love so dearly? We'll go with so we'll start in order. So we'll go with Comet. What was your first exposure to Transformers?
Well, technically it was Beast Wars, but I didn't know it was Transformers. I just knew it as Beast Wars. Now, my actual exposure to Transformers was Robots in Disguise, or as in Japan, it was called Car Robot.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so Car Robots was your big thing, other than Beast Wars. Okay. Alright. Ninjato, what was your first exposure to Transformers?
I was exposed as a little kid to Transformers Armada. So the Unicron duology I was exposed to. I watched a lot of Armada. I didn't finish that one, but Cybertron was the one I actually watched, I think, all the way through.
Nice.
And yes, it's a duology. It's not a trilogy. That's fake news.
It's fake news.
And then, like, for a while, I kind of not watch Transformers for a while, and then thanks to these guys,
Yes.
I start actually getting a sort of a Transformers addiction now.
So I have succeeded. Good. That is great to know. Welcome. A piece of plastic just flew off the runner from cutting it. Jesus. Okay. SGD, what was your first exposure to Transformers?
Unicron eating a planet.
Okay, so Transformers the movie then.
Yes, my earliest memory of Transformers is Unicron eating a planet and the Sharktacon scene.
Ah, yes, that's everyone's favorite scene, seeing the Quintessence just execute someone via Sharktacon pit. That's always nice. Good for the kids. Yeah, I love Transformers the movie. Okay, kids, how are we gonna start off this movie for the kids? Unicron committing genocide. Brilliant.
And then they sent out a little baby Cybertronian to the Earth, and that Cybertronian became a superhero named Superbot.
Superbot. Okay, so, Not. What was your first exposure to Transformers?
Well, I had back up north. I had a local television branch that used to show a lot of syndicated Saturday morning cartoons, and my first exposure to Transformers was the original G1. So that was something I used to watch every Saturday morning. And it wasn't limited to Saturday mornings. Usually, just very early in the morning, I used to watch it while getting ready for school.
Ah, nice. Okay then, that's nice. Always nice to start off with the original to see where it came from. Okay, these tiny green pieces are attached. Jesus Christ, these are tiny. That's the one thing I have to say about real great kits. Some of these pieces, especially the eyes, are so tiny. It's such a pain, and it's always nerve-wracking to put it together, but the result is always beautiful. So I guess since I'm next in the order of tonight, my first exposure to Transformers was Transformers Cybertron, which is excellent, nothing wrong with it, beautiful. But Transformers Cybertron was my first exposure. What really solidified my love for this franchise, well, that's where unfortunately I have to admit that was the live-action movies by Michael Bay. Now obviously, me growing up and becoming older and learning more about, actual good writing, looking back, I realized, wow, when I was a kid, I was retarded.
Clearly.
But fortunately, at the same time as the first Transformers movie came out, Transformers Animated started airing on Cartoon Network, and that was always fun. I used to wake up every Saturday morning to watch Transformers Animated. That was always a fun time. Transformers Animated is a great series. Watch it, please. I highly recommend Animated.
And watch a Transformers get squished into a cube.
Yes, but that's for people to watch for themselves. So for our final member to end the night off, Xenonic, what was your first exposure to Transformers? Xenonic? Okay. Clearly, he has given me the silent treatment since I made the Predator joke. I'm terribly sorry, Nick. I'm sorry about that.
He's eating. He's currently eating.
God damn it, Xenonic!
Xeno down. Xeno down.
Xeno down! Xeno down!
Oh, great.
Okay, until Xenonic finishes his eating, Then I guess the next question would be, what was your initial reaction to the live-action Transformers movies?
Are we gonna go in order again, or do you just want the first person to speak?
Just no particular order this time, since we're just waiting for Zeno, Nick.
So I didn't get to see. So I knew about the Transformers movie coming out because of there's a theater I used to go to. It had a pyramid motif, like it had an Egypt motif to it. It was really cool. There was a stand-in, a really big stand-in of side to side, the side profiles of both Optimus Prime and Megatron, just staring down at each other.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it's it's just it's the classic catchphrase, one shall stand, one shall fall. And it's like, oh, the date is something 2007. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna make a live action version of Transformers. Ooh. I never went to go see it in theater. I don't know why. First time I ever got.
I feel.
I'm sorry.
I feel sympathy, and yet at the same time, I feel envy for you.
You saw it at theaters.
I did see it in theaters. I saw it for 4th of July.
And the first time I've ever seen Transformers the movie is my family a long time ago. We used to buy bootlegs. The bootleg DVDs you see with the vendors out there. They hawk like, oh look, it's this DVD and it's camcorder quality. Now, sometimes you'll get a really good version of the movie, and it looks really nice. And I can't remember if this was camcorder quality. I don't think so, but there was. I believe it was one of our first road trips to Philly. We had a stack. We had 3 DVDs that we watched on the ride over. We watched Surf's Up, Spider-Man 3, and Transformers the movie.
Nice.
And then I was like, after the movie was done, I was like, that kind of didn't felt like Transformers.
I wonder why.
Wow, Transformers, this is great after the movie. So, I guess that was Transformers, maybe?
So, my first exposure of live action was the first one. It was more like my family rented it on DVD. I'm not sure if this was when Redbox was just coming out, or we did it through Netflix. Like, we rented it, and I watched it. Of course, I was watching mostly the action sequences. Didn't care for the plot. I was like middle school, so I was hearing, Transformers, and then nowadays, hearing the reputation. Out of the only Transformers movie I saw, the live action ones now, is the last night. In like 30 minutes of Age of Extinction, I listened through all of Revenge of the Fallen, because I didn't want to bore myself watching it.
Bore yourself? Ninjato,
As in watching.
well, see, but Ninjato, that was the whole point of that marathon. We would keep each other entertained while we would suffer through the live-action movies.
I wanted to play through Super Robot Wars V, okay?
Super Robot Wars can wait. You can play your good mecha stuff after you suffer first.
For nearly 3 hours each.
Not everyone was 3 hours. Well, Age of Extinction was, because Age of Extinction is so long.
I didn't survive 30 minutes. 1, because I had to go to bed because I had work. But 2, it sucked. It sucked hard. Not even brain dead. But then, last night, that was an enjoyably bad movie.
Enjoyably bad. That's a first.
Basically, it's so bad that it's funny. Entertaining.
Yeah, those movies are terrible. Do not watch the live-action Transformers movies, unless it's Bumblebee. If it's Bumblebee, then yes.
And then we saw Bumblebee, and Bumblebee was awesome.
Yes, watch Bumblebee, and
watch Bumblebee, and just buy the toys from Transformers the Last Night. That's it.
I won't even say buy the toys, because those toys, the toy line for Transformers the Last Night varied a lot in quality. Shall we say?
Find the good ones.
I had Barricade. I tossed him because I legitimately got frustrated with the figure. Mostly because of that giant back panel that makes up the roof of the car, just dangling off his back. It doesn't even fold up, and that always got in the way, and I just couldn't handle it. It was just no. So bye.
I will. You know, I will. What? Like, I guess sometime down the road, I will shell out money to go buy that Chinese black magic Megatron.
Yeah.
From the last night.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to save up because that's only on the aftermarket now. The third-party company, Unique Toys, unless they come back under a new branding, let's just say recently, third-party companies have been getting cracked down a lot by the officials, especially by Takara. So, if you do find a Unique Toys version on Megatron, you got a holy grail there, right there. So.
Yep.
All right, Nick, are you back? Are you done?
Xeonic?
Keep row.
Okay.
No.
Oh, I didn't realize Serena was in the chat. Hey, Serena. Oh, Serena, you're perfect. You're here. I have a new button just for you. It's a Family Guy clip.
They respected me for saying it.
I played it. It was the Family Guy clip where Peter goes into the city. He says the N-word and he comes back with King of the Black People. They respected me for saying it.
Awesome, Xeonic just said we need you to just go on with the show. So.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to Xeonic then. Okay, so Comet.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Let me change the transition real quick. Okay, so you're discussing Transformers Car Robots, or as it was known here, Robots in Disguise, and Discord is once again not showing up. Give me a quick second to fix that again. Terribly sorry about that.
Oh, take your time.
Okay, there we go. So, you're discussing car robots, so tell us, what's the deal with car robots?
Well, Car Robot was the Stopgap series. It was. You see what happened is. During this time, Hasbro needed. Okay, we needed a series. Our model's not ready yet, and we need a series. So let's do this. Let's bring over this Japanese series that those wacky Japanese did, and bring it over here to Stopgap and reuse some old toys. And we got Robots in Disguise. Now, Robots in Disguise is episodic, but there is like an overarching story later on with not Metroplex.
Fortress Maximus.
Fortress Maximus. Yes, forgive me for my terminology. I don't know where that came from.
That's fine.
Yeah. So, excuse me, because now as I talk about this, I might get the Japanese names and the American names mixed up. So forgive me.
That's fine.
So, one day that stood out to me as I watched this series, it was one day it was episodic. It kind of got like a Brave series feel to it. It was very super robot-y, calling out attack names and such, and have like long transformation sequences. Back in the day when they show every part of the transformation with the blue streaks in the black background.
Yeah.
And they transform and I gotta explain the story. Well, essentially the story is that the Autobots and the Predacons come to Earth, or as they call them in Japan, the Cybertrons and the Destrons come to the Earth. The Cybertrons want, the Destrons want to rule or the Predacons or want to rule the universe, so they come to Earth with what energy. And still, scientist father, and Japanese father of Kyoji, scientist father, and his son Kyoji, and Autobots took his son Kyoji in their charge until they get him back. And it's this episode of different adventures, mainly pertaining with the Autobot brothers. X-Brawn, Sideburn, Prowl, or as they would call in Japan, Mock-Alert, Mock-Alert, which is Prowl here. Speedbreaker, which is Sideburn. And I'm blanking on X-Brawn name. I think I forgot, but anyway, essentially it's kind of a lot of episodes focused on them, with Cyburn / Speedbreaker being the hotshot / Bumblebee character of that series.
Yes.
So hanging out with Koji. And then you have essentially it's just like a fun popcorn series to watch. And the funny thing about this series, one thing I know is that all is very toy accurate, and not in a very off way. Unlike a certain CGI series that shall not be mentioned.
Well, yeah. Well. Okay, I think we're live. We'll do it live!
Fuck it!
Alright, music.
Do it live!
Okay, this is... Okay, we should be back now. That was weird. Why did YouTube disconnect us? I don't know. Serena, our only viewer at the moment, is not here anymore. Oh well. I'll just...
Oh no!
Okay, hold on. Ping cord. Okay, we're back again. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we're back. Hopefully for good. That was weird. Why did YouTube disconnect us? Who knows? So this part of the stream is this new stream is just labeled part 2. Hopefully nothing more issues comes up again. But that was weird. Like there was no notification at all, like of any connection errors. We just got disconnected from YouTube just like that. I don't know why. That was irritating, and YouTube needs to fix this shit.
Rooster Teeth. Exactly.
Look, Rooster Teeth, it's not our fault that you can't make a damn good fucking show. You, like, come on, you had your shot with Ruby, and then you dunked that into the ground. So, screw you guys.
And then you got the chance to do Transformers.
And you dunked that into the ground as well. So no, screw you, Rooster Teeth. You don't. I don't care about you guys. You guys suck. You make a terrible Transformers show. I don't know what people see in you. Why people really like the War for Cybertron trilogy. I think the War for Cybertron trilogy is trash. I would rather watch the live-action movies than ever rewatch the War for Cybertron trilogy, because that was a painful experience, and I hope Rooster Teeth that you go bankrupt because of it. That was a rant from me about the War for Cybertron trilogy. I hate the War for Cybertron.
Don't worry,
trilogy.
I'm gonna rant out my segment.
All right. Well, you're not technically you're not covering the War for Cybertron trilogy, but
yeah, I know, but
Cengiz, check chat.
I say Mr. Matchstick or Among Us character disconnected you from YouTube, and Cengiz didn't see him again. Fuck you, Matchstick, you ass. Oh, you asshole. Damn it. Oh. Okay.
Look,
What?
like Cengiz, if you have a choice between the Among Us white astronaut and Xenonic, who would you save? Because we have live footage of what you would do.
It was a lapse in judgment. How many times do I have to tell my story? God. You guys.
Well, as many times as you are denying that Rodimus killed Optimus Prime.
He didn't. He didn't.
Optimus didn't kill Optimus Prime.
Megatron, who pulled the trigger? Megatron did. Rodimus didn't kill him. So no, your argument has just been debunked. Just like that.
Who gave Megatron the opportunity to kill Optimus?
Optimus. He was monologuing. You guys, why you doubt?
Optimus was hesitating. Which is in character for Optimus. He doesn't kill in cold blood. So.
Well, most of the time.
We're not talking about the Michael Bay Transformers comic. We're talking about G1 Optimus, the best Optimus from the G1 cartoon. Best Optimus Prime there. So.
The one who doesn't get high on bath salts.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm mostly from the Shattered Glass Optimus, but.
Well, Shattered Glass is an alternate universe, so he doesn't really count necessarily. Okay, I don't know what's going on with this piece. It's not connecting. I'll figure it out later.
Oh.
Okay, so we could get back on track now since we're back. So where do we leave off on car robots?
I forgot, so I'm just gonna say it's a fun series to watch. It's like it's not too complex, episodic, simplicity, but it's popcorn, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a popcorn series, you know, you just watch it, enjoy it. But I will say I really like, I don't know, I felt a little nostalgic about watching the series, the Transformer designs, and such.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Black Convoy, or Scourge as they call it in the American dub.
Right.
You know, not Nemesis Prime.
Yeah.
And also this the Optimus Prime design holds a special place in my heart.
Fire Convoy.
Fire Convoy is a dick boy.
He is a dick boy. Let's see, Matchstick said, White murders in front of Ching. It was a lapse in judgment, for God's sake, Matchstick.
Changes. Ignore what he has to say. We're gonna be here forever.
No, let him know his failure.
So now now you're back. Now you're back from your dinner. You come back.
No, I was still online. I just couldn't speak.
So you come back now just to shame me for my lack of judgment. Okay.
Exactly.
Hell yeah!
Okay, mister.
But yeah.
Oh, you fucking bastards. Okay. Oh, God. I hate you guys for that, but okay.
Yeah, but...
Alright. I guess... you got anything else to say about Car Robots Comet?
It got a bitchin' theme song.
It does. It does have a bitchin' theme song.
Now the moment of silence for the singer.
Ah.
Yeah, he's... Yeah, it turns out the reason he passed away like a few years back.
Oh, damn. That's a shame. That's a shame. I liked him.
Go boy,
Convoy.
I also got a good ending theme too.
I never heard the ending theme.
It was really good. Dun 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 dun. You know, it's one of those things that the ending theme you can just make it into an opening theme easily.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's like of a different series, or like a more serious, more real robotish series, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah,
but I know what you're talking about. So.
Yeah, but yeah, I would recommend this series. Recommend the toys if you can find them. Cheap.
Mastic says, I'm using the white AU Among Us joke too much, but this one is too good not to use. Jake is proving white privilege exists. God damn it, Mastic.
This was stupid.
Matchstick. You are literally the best person right now.
Oh, Mastic. You're an asshole, but you're lucky you're our asshole.
Oh. I would love to hear this story one day.
Oh God. Okay, here. Long story short, we're playing.
Okay,
No. You're going to tell it through a biased lens.
You're Changus. You're gonna make yourself look good when I'm wanting to tell the truth. Okay.
I got back from setting up dinner and yes.
Truth.
Yes, Changus. So, we were playing Among Us. Both of us realized that we were crewmates, not imposters. And we get into the cafeteria. We see a white guy, and by that I mean the white crewmate, because we were not white. I was, I think I was black and he was red. I was either blue or black, whatever. But the important thing is white. There was white. And the lights go out. White kills me. And basically,
No, you got sent out the airlock.
No, I was killed.
I got sent out the airlock.
Because then when my body was found, not only did Changus not put together, because he was just just standing there, because White was basically now getting people to believe that that Changus killed me. We were literally screaming at him, Changus! What the hell? What the hell are you doing? Doing nothing! And basically, and basically, right at the very last seconds, to the point where he can't do anything, but basically be shut out the airlock. His response, instead of going, "No, it was white," his defense, "It was white. Was it you?" What the hell? And as soon as it comes out, he gets shut out the airlock, and that cost us the win, and that allowed the imposter to win. And now you know why Genghis is very much cannot see the color white.
So
Who else could it have been, Genghis?
Yes, as we torture him with
I
the White
told you
Among Us character.
It was a lapse in judgment. I did.
Who else could it have been?
I couldn't piece it together.
Who else could it have been?
It couldn't have been anyone else. It was a lapse.
Fucking Lugnut could have figured it out.
Oh!
Look, that's not stupid.
Look, Rodimus Prime could have figured it out, okay? And that's saying something, because he killed Optimus.
No, you didn't. You bet. See, now that is defamation right there, Ninjato. That's defamation right there. I'm gonna sue you for defamation for saying Rodimus killed Optimus. That's
No. Grimlock can figure it out.
That's libel right there. Actually, no, it's slander because your libel's written. That's slander right there, Ninjato.
It's slander.
But you can't sue me in a place of Rodimus. Rodimus has to sue me.
Well, Rodimus is not here. He is a fictional character.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't get sued by him.
I would forget John Nelson.
God. Okay. What?
Genghis deserves the shame, any shaming,
No.
and he also deserved that time I threw him under the bus when we were both imposters, and it was his first time being the imposter, if I'm correct. He didn't kill anyone because I killed someone, and then literally but it was a mistake because someone saw us, and I'm like, Genghis, what did you do?
Fucking ass. You
You deserved it.
I didn't.
You know,
Who
Nick.
else could it have been, Genghis?
We
Nick, you were a great cover for me as I was murdering people.
You bastard.
we all could be on. We all together can do some impractical Joker style show with Among Us.
God. God damn.
Anyway, are you done talking about car robots and robots in disguise?
No, yes. Watch the series, good series, good popcorn series. Watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, my turn.
Yes. All right. So this is the show that we got you addicted to Transformers again. So.
Well, it's not with this show, but this is the show that was the show that you kept harping me on to watch, and
because it's good.
And yeah, so it was. I decided to watch it after watching that horrible trilogy of series that is the War for Cybertron trilogy.
Oh God, that was terrible.
So, I assume that those who have seen it, you know that all characters have very little personality. The voice acting direction is terrible. The characters are boring or stupid, or both.
Mostly stupid.
And mostly stupid. The plot, the tone is always all this serious and dreariness and
everyone talks like this to
yes,
show.
So
that
just
everything
so that's Rooster Teeth, like the team that's known for internet comedy shows. in the past.
In the past.
So just imagine Hasbro actually hiring a group of people doing comedy writing. Take that plot line of Optimus sent the Allspark to Earth because he thought it was the right thing, and then he realized it was a mistake. So he goes back to Earth to try to get it. But instead, how about you put a comedic twist on it? And you get Cyberverse. So I only seen about 4 full episodes into season 2. So that's how far I went into. But I can say, without a doubt, this is a fun series to watch. You have the whole plot of the first season focuses on mostly Windblade and Bumblebee. And this confirms that Windblade is a waifu.
That's what you got out of it?
Well, yeah, one of the things. And oh my goodness, the series, again, it's so much fun. One of the greatest things about it is that you get to see, Transformers show, the actual, what it's like to be in Cybertron before the war. Like, other shows have done it, like they've done like a spotlight episode, or they do a flashback to it. But this actually had a focus in the first season, so that, and it was clear enough that you could piece together what happened that caused the war to happen without going into spending episodes and episodes explaining it. And the character writing, I love how the humor came from like characters like how Bumblebee uses his voice radio to do different impressions, like he's a cowboy, or when he gets certain emotions, and like Windblade having to talk to him like that. Like, so he's kind of been a comic relief, while Windblade is a bit more serious, but not too serious. She's not like a stick up her butt, but
she's a straight man.
Yeah, she's the straight man to this funny guy. And then they bring in Grimlock near the end of the first season. And that is its own hilarity. Because what they did with Grimlock, like, Grimlock is usually interpreted as like he's Grimlock! No! I know! Grimlock is king! Stuff like that. In this one, he's only that when he's in Dynamo. When he's in Autobot mode, he's a sophisticated British war hero. Like, I remember when I was in this adventure. And that is just so funny to me. Yeah, and then the way they did the Decepticons in the first season, which is Slipstream and the Seekers, is also hilarious. But like, Slipstream is like trying to be a good Decepticon, but she has a completely incompetent minions. And her flaw is that she's so hell-bent on beating Windblade that it sometimes distracts her. That most of it just prevents her from achieving the objectives. Shockwave is like what you expect. And that's like, again, the biggest highlight is how they did the characters and how they made them humor. How it does it. And all in within 10 minutes. And I think that's also one of the greatest show's strengths, is that you don't have to spend a long time watching this show. You can spend like 10 minutes, like a short break time at work, and enjoy an episode.
Which is actually a thing that I disagree on to an extent. I think certain episodes that are much more lighthearted and comedic, sure, it works for 10 minutes. Whenever they try to tell a bit more serialized kind of story, I think that's where the 10-minute time limit hurts the show. But that's my opinion.
I don't know what it's like in season 2, but season 1 is... it worked because you didn't have to stick with one plot line for too long. Like there was only like 2 episodes that I was skimming through. I kind of skimmed through, but out of 18, and to me that's a good record.
All right. Yeah. Some things like the episode limit time. I think I stated already my reasons why I kind of disagree, but overall, like Cyberverse is a fantastic show. It is so much fun, and it's criminal that it's so underrated because, believe it or not many people watch the show. I think Robots in Disguise 2015, not Car Robots in Disguise. Yeah, there's 2 Robots in Disguise shows. I think that really turned people off.
And then it didn't help that the art style.
Everyone has.
But it's not.
Everyone in Robots in Disguise has 2015. Those are some thick necks, boy. Ooh.
Yeah, but then I think I heard one time that the art style for Cyberverse was like, oh yeah, it's the same ugly art style as like Steven Universe and stuff. Like,
no, I would not say it's like the quote unquote Cal art style. I know
that's an insult to Cyberverse.
Yeah, I've seen enough of the shows with the Cal art style to know when it has it. Cyberverse is not one of those shows. So.
Because Cyberverse is a good show, and
yes, it is.
And and I think the reason why it wasn't also not popular is that they wanted more of a serious Transformers with something of a budget in their minds, even though the show still holds up. Even though there's areas where you see that has a budget with reusing clips and stuff, but the art style still looks good. It also helps that we don't see much humans in the show, which is like, as a Transformer show, I do think it's a bit of a detraction. Is like there's no human element present within the Transformers. Like, in my opinion, Transformers is at its best when there's like 50% of the show of an episode focus on Transformers action, 25 you focus on the human characters, and then 25 the human characters with Transformers. Because I think the human element is important to the Transformers because they're fighting on Earth.
Human.
Sorry.
Oh shit! A piece fell off of my mark too. I'll pick it up. But really, the human element has always been a part of Transformers, and I think why people nowadays are kind of turned off to it is again the live-action Michael Bay Transformers movies. I think that really turned people off, and
then you got Bumblebee.
Yes, you got Bumblebee, which is a great movie.
So there was got to be some recurring themes. You will probably notice this special, like our subliminal message. Watch Bumblebee. Don't watch the Netflix Transformers. And watch Cyberverse. Have fun. Cyberverse is not a series of shows. I even nicknamed it Transformers Beamverse because there's so many jokes that happens in there that it fits Beam so well. Like, the episode I'm on is where Optimus and Megatron finally get to the Allspark, but it has a Guardian, Cheetor, from Beast Wars fame. but he's the Guardian, and Cheetor decides to test him, and I stop as soon as he administers the first test, which is what type of files Optimus Prime filed as a clerk before the war. And Megatron thought, because Megatron and Optimus thought it was going to be a fight. Nope, it's a quiz.
Okay, this piece is not clicking on. I don't know why. I'll figure it out. But yeah, just go watch Cyberverse. I highly recommend Cyberverse if you haven't seen it already.
And also, it shows another great clip of Hot Rod failing.
Well, moving on. You guys suck at that, but okay.
SGD is here, so speaking
SGD
of Hot
is
Rod failing.
No. Okay, this piece is not getting on this thigh. I don't exactly know what. Okay, that's interesting. Well, I don't know what the hell that's trying to tell me, but I'll figure it out later. Okay, so since SGD is here, we can now move on. So Serena says, so this is some Transformers multi-type of a show? No. Okay. I'm not gonna get too into it, but Transformers Multiverse is not really a big plot line unless it is purposely part of the show.
I think Cyberverse is called Cyberverse because in the first season they go through memories of Bumblebees.
Yeah.
That's how we get to explore like the beginnings of the war.
Oh, there we go.
Even
Jesus, that was terrible.
some clips of what happened during the war, including a very dark scene of how Bumblebee lost his voice.
Yeah, that's actually that's another thing. Cyberverse, despite being a much more lighthearted series, does have its dark moments. Like Bumblebee losing his voice. That was actually, I would argue, is probably one of the darkest versions of Bumblebee losing his voice.
Yeah, because just the way they shot it.
Yeah.
And the way it was all delivered. And oh, by the way speaking of delivery, at least Optimus Prime was Optimus Prime in the Netflix series. Except in this one, he had a competent voice director. So guess what? He sounded like Optimus Prime.
Well, okay, so I've heard people have mixed opinions on Jake Fushi. That's the stage name he's known by whenever we're discussing Transformers voice actors. He's credited as Jake Fushi. I don't know his real name. No one really knows his full name, at least to my knowledge. I've heard people criticize his Optimus Prime. I think it's okay for what it is, which is he's trying to do an impression of Peter Cullen. And I would argue there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just this is more of a me thing. I wish people who voice Optimus Prime would, honestly, I would say, stop trying to emulate Peter Cullen, because you're never going to be Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen is just special. His voice is iconic, and it's so difficult to replicate perfectly. Like you could be one of the best, voice actors out there, but like Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime's voice is there's something special about it that every time someone tries to emulate it, they can't get it right completely, and that includes Jake Fushi in Cyberverse, and unfortunately by extension also the For Cybertron trilogy. Now, this piece doesn't actually tab. Basically, I don't want them to emulate Peter Cullen. I want them to understand what Peter Cullen was thinking of when voicing Optimus Prime, watch his interviews, and try to emulate the spirit of Optimus Prime while putting your own take on it.
Kind of like Gary Chalk?
Gary Chalk, or like David Kaye. Fun fact, David Kaye is at least to my knowledge, the only voice actor to voice both Optimus Prime and Megatron. He voiced Megatron in the Unicron trilogies and also Beast Wars Megatron. Yes! But he was also Optimus Prime in animated.
You know, that kind of reminds me of a skit he did at a convention where Beast Wars Megatron, Treyas Kusanada,
Be in the City.
and
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
no.
Oh,
No, he did a skit with Beast Wars Megatron and Treyas Kusanada living in an apartment. Okay, he voiced both characters.
Wait, Trace is David Kaye?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
This is news to me.
What?
Yes.
The antagonist of Gundam Wing is David Kaye?
Yes.
Oh man, the chat is Gundam antagonist. He's David Kaye. Yes.
Yes. This is
Yes.
this
All
is
I remember-
amazing news to me. Why didn't?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Yes.
A lot of.
I
I don't know
know,
why you guys are so surprised. A lot of.
I know David Kaye
A
does.
lot of.
Yeah, I know David Kaye does dub work. I didn't know he was Trace though, from Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
That's why Scott McNeil was Dio. It's like the dubbing company that did Beast Wars also. Well, the voice acting company that did Beast Wars also did a lot of anime, including early Gundam, like
Oh, that is
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, all I remember at the end of the skit, David Kaye yelled at Beast Wars Megatron something along like, "I'm busy, shut up, Megatron. I'm busy doing Lady Un."
Oh.
Oh, why would you want to be with her? All of a sudden, this is turning into a Gundam show.
Well, Lady Un is fanatically loyal to Trey, so
What do you know? Gundam. Turns out, the BBC, while they were wrong, they may not have been far off. Gundam and Transformers is a lot more closely related than we thought. I mean, the Transformers the movie, for some of the corpses in the Quintesson prison cell were reused models from Gundam. There were some mobile suits.
Speaking of Transformers, the movie.
Yes, so now we can transition finally to SGD. That was a quick tangent on David Kaye. Okay, so SGD, you're covering Transformers the movie.
First thing, check the back room.
Check the back room. Is it more memes?
Yes.
Yes, SGD!
God, you bastards! Screw it. I'll show it on stream. Give me a second. Give me a second to download the image so I can show it. Okay. I don't like it, but I'll show it.
I know.
Let's see here. Who else tagged me? Oh, Deimos. Tornado didn't hit my area. Now it's just another. Oh, thank God, Deimos. Oh, thank God. That's good to hear. Yeah, that tornado warning, that scared me like I was like, oh, the way he said it was so casual too, just like, oh hey guys, there's a tornado warning. Like, holy shit, Deimos, you gonna be okay, man? Oh man.
So you should be especially worried if it's tornado warning, because the thing about tornado warning, because I took a weather class, so I know this, is that the warning isn't like, hey, be warned, there might be a tornado, so be warned for that. Tornado warnings are, a tornado is coming, seek shelter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same. It's the same with a hurricane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, here we go.
Or as I call hurricanes, or as I like to call it, water tornadoes.
Water tornadoes. I thought those were water spouts.
Water tornadoes.
Hurricane.
Okay.
I think in Japanese they have the same name.
Huh.
Yeah, I think a water spout in a tornado can be called a tatsumaki.
Must be lucky we don't have fire tornadoes yet.
Oh god. What do you?
Or
Don't say
Sharknado.
yet, Nishino Nick. I don't want to think about fire tornadoes.
Or Sharknadoes.
Oh, Sharknado. Well, Sharknadoes are only gonna keep happening as long as Asylum keeps existing. So.
Well, Sharknadoes can only, are technically would not be true, because if it's a Sharknado, it would be dead. It would have to be a Sharkicane.
Shark King. Okay.
It would have to have water to at least have the shark survive.
Okay. Well, enough talk about sharks and natural disasters. So, SGD, you wanted to talk about Transformers the movie. Tell us what you think about it.
All in all, I think it's a pretty good movie. I hadn't consumed any surrounding material if it exists. I just watched the movie. And it's definitely something you can watch just on its own. And like, one thing I enjoy about older media is it doesn't waste your time. You watch modern TV shows and it's like, wow, I can't believe I got 5 minutes of decent stuff out of that 20-minute episode, compared to older stuff where you're like, wow, I've only been watching 10 minutes of this thing.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's one of those movies where, like, they pack a lot into the time they have, for the most part. Like, it has a very strong first act. Like, if you consider everything up to Megatron meeting Unicron to be the first act, it's like very good stuff. But after that, things kind of go a bit downhill. Not so much so to ruin the movie, but I feel like the stuff with
Hot Rod?
not Hot Rod. So just the stuff with the Quintessons, kinda doesn't really drag on, but as you watch the movie more, it doesn't feel entirely important. Stuff with Daniel, like, that's probably the slowest part of the movie. Like, not at the starting stuff with Daniel, the later stuff with Daniel, but before they're inside Unicron. And when you get to the ending part of the movie with Galvatron being defeated and Unicron being defeated, it seems not as grand as it should have been. Which sort of goes back to the Quintesson stuff. If they cut that out or reduced it a lot, they could have expanded more on that. It does feel pretty anticlimactic how those characters go out. And stuff like with Bumblebee and Spike, how they just at the start of the movie and then they come back at the end. It would have been nice to have a couple of scenes of them inside Unicron before they're like, hey, it's time to rescue them.
Interesting. I didn't
So
think
you
of that.
wanted to see more scenes of Autobots getting melted down by Unicron?
Not necessarily. Just to show them, like, yeah, they're still okay. We haven't forgotten about them or anything. They do a good job with the characters that are there. like, I'm not attached to this Optimus in any way, but it does do a good job with his farewell. I do like the foreshadowing of Rodimus Prime, where Hot Rod touches the Matrix and it starts to glow before he hands it off to Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
Kinda iffy on Ultra Magnus coming back to life after he dies, though. It's like, let's just, put him back together.
Well, that's because... Alright, we got Ultra Magnus to sell. Buy his toy! Buy his toy! Well, we just killed him, sir. What? We just killed him in the movie. It's part of the script. We'll bring him back.
Revive him! Bring him back!
Bring him back! We need to sell the toys, damn it! Why did you kill him?
Like, the stuff with the Megatron's really good, but then Galvatron's not really as gripping a character. I do like the back and forth relationship between him and Unicron, where it's like, you're not in charge. Yes, I am. Okay, but you can't tell me what to do. Yes, I can. Galvatron is the kind of guy who, he doesn't take your crap, but he never loses his temper. He knows he's in control of the situation. He knows he's in charge, and he never needs to stoop below his typical demeanor.
It's very Greek in how it's set out. Is in order for Megatron to obtain power to destroy his enemies, he needs to make a deal with a god. And he's essentially a slave.
They do a good job with establishing Unicron as a character. And not really sure what else to say. All in all, a good movie. Yeah, definitely worth skipping a few episodes of a certain show I'm binging.
Well,
the 90s are over. Fortunately, this movie's from the 80s.
Well, if I knew more about Digimon, I would gladly suffer with you. But interesting insight though. Your take on seeing more on Bumblebee and Spike and stuff, that's interesting. I didn't actually consider that before. So that's always...
It's like 2 or so scenes, just here and there in the movie probably would have helped a lot with that.
Yeah, I will admit, that is something I didn't really think too much about, considering I do, for some writing exercises I do like rewriting certain, things. One of them was a rewrite of the Transformers movie. I think I've told it definitely to Xenoneck and Jado.
Yeah, but you've streamed it twice.
Yeah, so I've said my rewrite, but there are things I didn't consider before that you brought up, like the Spike thing. That's interesting.
It feels like they didn't know what they wanted to do with Spike and Daniel. It's like, okay, we have these characters. They're there.
Hey, Bumblebee. He's our child character. We kind of have to give him a role, right? Right? Oh, we just don't kill him. Let's throw Cliff Jumper instead of that.
Well, Cliff Jumper didn't die, actually. Funny thing is, Cliff Jumper has only died. Well,
it's only been a recent idea.
Yeah, actually, technically. Okay, so technically, he would have died 3 times in Prime, the Bumblebee movie, and he died off-screen in War for Cybertron, when Shockwave set off that big nuke at the end.
And in IDW.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did bite the dust in the first IDW comic. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think he's still alive in the new run.
Well, yeah. They gave him his own story arc.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So Cliff Jumper dying is.
So he's gonna be slated to die later on.
Well, we don't know that yet. Cliff Jumper dying is really only a recent thing. It's just that because he's been dying. Well, even though it's a recent thing, he's been dying in like pretty much almost every piece of current Transformers media. Hence why people joke around, man, they really like just killing off Cliffjumper.
Same with Blur.
That is true. Which is weird. Cliffjumper, like, you want to kill him? Okay, fine. You know, maybe still have some build up to his death. Blur, though, that's a new one too. That they're killing Blur. Though I think that's, to my knowledge, that has only been in the first IDW run, and that was during the whole Unicron thing. And Cyberverse. And funny enough, they died the same way.
Yeah. Also, technically animated, but he's actually still alive. Just in a fate worse than death.
Yeah, he became a nice cube.
Yeah.
Well,
but
I thought in the wasn't it like a animated comic continuation sort of?
there was supposed to be there was a tie-in comic, but that was like I think like a BotCon exclusive, and that only exists because that was supposed to take the place of season 4, which got canned because Cartoon Network hates action shows. So fuck Cartoon Network for that.
Does it sell toys? Enough toys? No. Cancel it.
Well, it's not even toys though. Like, Cartoon Network just hates action shows, even if it doesn't sell toys. Like,
well, because their idea is that it doesn't make ratings. Like, one uncomfortable truth about Megas was it wasn't a ratings bottom. It wasn't ratings gold when it aired its initial run on Cartoon Network, even though it was really highly praised. And so eventually, as the ratings dwindled, the Cartoon Network put it in the graveyard slot, and then they just took it off the schedule completely.
Yeah, and now Megas is in legal limbo. So thanks, Cartoon Network. Now, because of you, no one has the rights to Megas anymore. Awesome, you hacks. I do not enjoy Cartoon Network. I used to, and now I don't. So, yeah, Cartoon Network is on my shit list. But overall, yeah, I've seen Transformers the movie plenty of times, so I like it. There are some stuff I agree. Some stuff, like the Bumblebee thing, that was interesting insight I didn't think of before. Galvatron, well, Galvatron is Megatron. That's no ifs. He's just I mostly just see Galvatron as just, again, as an extension of Megatron's whole character. So, I think
kind of the stuff they do with him. Like, Galvatron starts off fine, but then peters out by the end.
I suppose he could have had a larger role. But yeah. But overall, I said already. I'm just not repeating myself. Some stuff I agree with, some stuff new, and some stuff interesting, to say the least. So yeah. Transformers. Oh, go ahead.
Some stuff you just have to remember. SGD is an effing normie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I still think SGD. I still think that we should find a way to do a Digimon 101. That would be interesting. But
oh yeah, SGD. Here's the most important question.
Oh, you're gonna ask him.
Did Rodimus kill Optimus?
Be honest with your answer, SGD.
Mistakes were made.
Bastard! Bastard!
Oh, SCP, I love having you here.
You bastards!
Let me know that thanks to you, you've inspired me.
He's inspired you. Okay, you son of a bitch. God,
Well, look, I'm thanks to him, I decided to make something.
oh, I mean, is it in the back room? Oh god. I mean, oh, it's. God damn you guys. Oh. Oh, okay. It's more Among Us stuff. Okay.
There's that, but I also made this one, and I'll let you guys decide which one's funnier.
Okay. Let me.
I'm throwing this.
God, you guys suck. I'm not showing these. I already have the WWE meme up, so that's. Hold on, real quick.
Hey.
Okay, hold on, real quick. Someone's tagging me in Diva server. I need to know what's going on.
It's a vote.
Oh, it's a vote? Okay. Okay, then I can check on that later. Okay. Okay. Let's take down this Among Us meme. Okay, so moral of the story: Transformers the movie is good. War for Cybertron trilogy is terrible. Do not watch the War for Cybertron trilogy. In fact, there was already a version of that story done much better. It was also called War for Cybertron. They were video games. Which brings us to Nod's topic. Okay, so Nod, you're talking about the good War for Cybertron. And also Fall of Cybertron.
There's a YouTuber that I've seen that put the point succinctly that it's a shame that Transformers barely have any video games that are good. Because Transformers as a concept lends itself really great to a video game. You play as giant robots that essentially transform into vehicles. So there's a lot you can get from that premise. Sandbox, you can get a tactical strategy game. Because it is, the entire series does revolve around a war, and the subject that I'm talking about right now is, a third-person shooter. So just to set the stage, this was, I believe War 2008, 2009. It's blurry for me at that time because
No, War for Cybertron. Rose for Cybertron was 2010.
Yeah, so
2010. Oh, yes.
So, cause Transformers Prime came out around the same year, I think, or was that 2012?
I think Prime came later. Yeah, Prime came later because.
Okay.
Yeah,
because the whole.
And then Fall came out in 2013. Fall came out in 2013 or 2012, I think.
2012.
All right.
So basically, Hasbro was doing this. Of course, you and Nick know this very much. Hasbro has been doing this push to try to streamline the Transformers continuity. With something that's a lot more straightforward, something that they can market without having you read a bunch of stuff in order to understand. This timeline is referred to as the Alliant timeline.
The Alliant continuity. You will be missed.
The Alliant continuity. With this plan set in motion, they were trying to find a perfect way to try to start it. In came a little studio called High Moon. The late High Moon. Fuck you, Activision.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Activision. Also, just to add an extra fuck you to Activision, you took down all the Fall of Cybertron multiplayer servers. So screw you guys for that.
Oh yeah, and they took away the games from Xbox and PS4.
Oh, you bastards.
Yeah, because once their license went out, once their license, the license seal went out the window. Well, it expired. They just decided to unplug. They decided to take out all digital copies of their Transformers games off of marketplaces.
But then they don't. If they lose the rights to publish it, they can't have those available. It's unfortunate, but they don't really have a choice in the matter.
I understand.
No, I understand. I understand that. It's kind of hard to, when it gets really increasingly hard to try to find these games. That's when you start to get a bit mad, and you start to care less about legalese.
Basically, when you have to turn to piracy in order to play them, that's the problem.
That is, yeah. And this all thanks to Activision. Guys suck.
So High Moon decided to offer a starting point to this new continuity. Something that is familiar, but newish. As new as you can get with Transformers. Their development soon focused on, their house soon focused on developing a Transformers game set during the waning years of the Cybertronian Civil War. I don't know if there's an official name, but I just like calling it that.
I think it's really just called War for Cybertron. Sometimes they just refer to as just the war or the Great War. Most people, it's just a war for Cybertron.
I'll still call it the Civil War because why not?
Yeah.
And it was to include a lot of. They wanted to include, because the director and pretty much a lot of people on the team were big Transformers fans. They wanted to pick apart the old continuities and try to figure out things that they should keep or just scrap. So a lot of the bulk of games are taken from other shows, and we got a lot of shows. Of course, the Marvel Comics run. I think Fall was developed alongside the early IDW Transformers run, because it makes mention to Optimus Prime's previous occupation as Orion Pax librarian.
Well, actually, the Optimus Prime being Orion Pax is a Transformers Prime thing. In IDW, he was Orion Pax was actually RoboCop. No, I'm not joking. That's literally what he was. He was RoboCop in the
So, in short, a lot of the games follow many of the continuity that has. Well, a lot of games has ties to previous continuities in order to make something that in order to make a smoothie that is welcoming to both newcomers and old fans. And that's where we got War, the game that if you could find their developer diaries, was something that they said first and foremost. What they wanted to do was they wanted to make it into a good game first before they made it into a Transformers game. Okay, they want to make sure you want to play it, not just because of the references and all that stuff, but because you want to, because it's fun.
Yes, something that unfortunately Transformers games don't take into consideration as much nowadays.
And one criticism I will have to levy towards War is that I will say that it is a good game, but going back to play it, it has aged like a sponge.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because for me it's because it has first game syndrome.
Understandable.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just addressing Ninjato's comment.
Well, because not only just first game syndrome, I think it's also a sort of a like War for Cybertron is a game that was released of its time, and the time that it came out of, because what time it came out of, because Gears of War came out not too long ago, and that was a big violation boon for third-person shooters,
and co-op shooters too.
Yeah, exactly. And so you get a game that is very cover based, but one of the major flaws of War, and I guess you can call Fall on that, but Fall does have its fixes, is there is no cover system. So
yeah, that is
you're essentially your only cover system is dodging.
Yeah,
is
they did sort of improve upon that in Fall. Kind of. Mileage may vary. A lot of the problems with War for Cybertron were, at the very least, addressed in Fall. That's not to say they completely fixed it, but they were addressed.
Well, I think they were addressed really well. But just really quick with War. So a lot of it's like it kind of suffers from the trends of the third-person shooters of its time. But I think the thing is like they, aside from taking some of the popular elements from Gears of War, it kind of didn't take much from how Gears of War tends to use many of its, the important elements, like the consistent cover base, like being able to snap freely to a lot of obstacles, and the consistently fast pace, and that's something that War kind of suffers from, because there tend to be a lot of sections where you are where they tell you, okay, you gotta fight wave upon wave of enemy, like Yeah, he's like, you gotta fight wave upon wave of enemy to make sure that something happens, something explodes, something gets activated, something, yada yada yada. And the lack of a dedicated cover system, it makes it hard to, it kind of makes it hard to it kind of makes it hard to strategize at points, because then you're mostly out in the open and you have a lot of enemies who range from your flying types, your ground types. One of the most annoying enemies of the games is the cloakers. It's the cloak, because one problem that the game suffers from is lack of health pickups. There are certain points in the games where you need energon, like you really do need energon, and there are 2 points. There's usually 2 points in every stage where you can get energon. You can get energon, and it will respawn about a minute and 10 seconds after you first got it. But at that point, when you've gotten your first energon, the enemies are after that, the enemies already half your health. So you have to go try to scramble and get the other bit of energon to go refill that half the health that the enemy took away. And shields are a special kind of thing that you really only ever get during, the big area style, shooting rooms.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call them. So, and another criticism I can lobby towards For Cybertron is level design is not good. A lot of what you are doing is traveling down gunmetal corridors to, to get from point A to point B, and if they didn't tell me 20 times that I was an Iacon, I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't tell you where I was, because everything kind of looks the same. It's kind of dull to look at after a while, and so
Yeah.
and so
Understandable.
and I mean, the best I can say is the obstacle placement is great, so that when I eventually have to do my archaic form of ducking into the corner to take pot shots at the heavies, it is very reliable. So that makes me very happy. And so I guess another thing is the characters. A lot. So the game is, as Najado pointed out, it's geared towards co-op.
Yeah, so they give you a whole bunch of characters to play as, but you're usually locked in one character if you're... Wait, can you switch characters between missions?
Can you switch characters? I believe so.
Characters in between missions,
You
yeah.
can between missions. I don't know during.
Not during missions, I know that.
You could play
No,
as.
between missions, yeah.
You could play like just as an example, like for the Decepticon roster, you could play as Megatron. You could play as
Starscream.
Starscream, or when he's available, or like a sound wave or breakdown.
Breakdown, brawl, barricade.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know.
For the
Or
auto.
Warpath.
Warpath. Well, he was in. Unfortunately, Warpath was in there for like only I think a level or two, which is a shame because I love Warpath. Boom! Pow!
Boom! Pow! It's great because I will get to the personality because I think War and very much Fall has really succinctly put. Really succinctly, set up what these characters are and why you love them so much. But so the whole thing about the characters is no one feels unique. A lot of the game kind of hinges on this pseudo class system, in which Optimus Prime and Megatron. Like Optimus Prime and Megatron, and usually, in the rare cases, you get to do flying sections with Starscream or
Jetfire.
Silverbolt. Well, Silverbolt is leader of that mission.
But you can play Jetfire.
You could play.
Yeah,
you could play as Jetfire, Silverbolt, and I think Air Raid. Yeah,
Air Raid, yes.
Yes, because Silverbolt and Air Raid are both aerial bots, and Jetfire, he's not an aerial bot, but he was also the other big main flying Autobots, so.
So it's like they are considered soldier classes, and basically outside of their major perks they get from Megatron, basically it amounts to he gets to suck the energon out of the surrounding enemies and use it to refill his health. Optimus is it's a defense and damage boost. Right. It's a war cry. So aside from their boosts, aside from their perks, they kind of function the same way, where only the soldier class gets a permanent main weapon. The other two classes you get, you can change both. Yeah, like you can change both weapons, like both weapon hands that you get. And that's kind of the major advantage to playing the soldier class, is that you get a really good primary weapon that you get to use throughout the game, because aside from a few weapons that I use, mainly the machine gun variety, I didn't like the vast majority of the selection they had, because a lot of War for Cybertron kind of lacks a bit of the punch that Fall fixed very much. And so yeah, it's like you also get a scientist and a scout class, and basically those just means scientist just means you get a ray gun that heals your allies, which is essentially useless if you're playing solo. But since this entire game has no servers, the entire servers have been shut down, so I can't talk about military multiplayer or escalation. The heal gun has been rendered useless. Thank you, Activision.
Thank you,
Yep.
Activision.
Another round. Thank you, Activision.
You guys truly are proving to be a truly hated gaming company.
So a lot of and scout classes usually they're I guess they're more agile. I wouldn't tell you because I've only ever played a scout, like Bumblebee or Bumblebee or what was it?
I think
What was it called?
Sideswipe was the scout.
So, yeah, I've only played Bumblebee one mission, and I think I played Sideswipe another mission. I'm not sure. And they kind of don't like they really have no differences between the two. So there's like a lot of the characters are copy and paste between each other, mostly to facilitate the co-op. Because with co-op you need all the characters to feel the same, so that the players can feel comfortable playing them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my problem with designing a game around co-op when you're not Gears of War. Is that so each character eventually feels like how did I describe it before? They just feel like they're wearing skins. They sliced off the skin of Optimus Prime and he's wearing it around like pajamas. It's just kind of how you feel like most of the time, because there's not really any specific Optimus Prime thing that you can do in a war for Cybertron. So I guess out of my criticisms is positives is there's some cool things they do in the campaign. War for Cybertron's campaign is Decepticon's first, Autobot second, and it kind of follows that a pseudo linear thing where it's like, oh, you could play it in order or you can just play it in either order you choose. And there's a lot of cool sections that the game goes through, but at times it really just feels like it doesn't achieve what it should be doing. It feels like this is really cool. I kind of want more of this, and I don't get more of this. One thing I will spoil is Decepticon. Towards the end of the Decepticon campaign, Zeta Prime unleashes Omega Supreme, and the entire level before his giant boss battle is Megatron, Soundwave, and Breakdown.
Yes.
Having to outrun a giant a giant killer, because Megatron is Megatron is goddamn. If there's anything, he's stubborn to a fault, and he won't give up the Omega Key. And so the entire level is just the entire level is just Omega Supreme wanting to kill you. And it's such a fun thing for something like the Decepticons to have to do. So it's like, the shoe is on the other foot now.
You think he knows where the Omega Key is, Megatron? Break down, you fool! He doesn't know where the Omega Key is! He is the Omega Key! Oh, we're gonna die!
And there's a cool part of one cool part of the Autobot campaign is that they have to sneak into in order to Optimus Prime gets a message from Zeta Prime. Well, Optimus, because he's not Prime yet.
Right.
Gets a message from Zeta Prime. It's like, oh, hey, Optimus. Well, no, oh, Autobots. I am well. How are you bros doing? You know now.
So what is happening to you? Oh, long story short, I got captured.
And so it's like, Optimus, even though Ratchet told him it could be a trap, he's like, he's my friend. I don't care if it's a trap. I want to save him. And it's like, it's a much better version than War for Cybertron, the show.
Well,
Ultra Magnus will not betray us.
Well, they're trying to do the same thing as the reasoning. That's just one is like, it's most likely a trap, Optimus. I know that. I don't care. I'm still gonna rescue Zeta. Versus Optimus, it could be a trap. Nonsense, you fool! Ultra Magnus would never lie to me. He just betrayed you. Ultra Magnus is my friend. He would never lie to me. Oh my god.
Oh, so it's like they go in and they break into the Kron prison.
Kaon.
Kaon. I'm sorry, I'm not used to Cybertronian city names.
That's fine.
Get used to it.
Well, I'll be lenient to you, not Xeonic. I'm not so sure.
I'm sorry, but I have to go to bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like you break in. Have a good night, Ninjago.
Have a good night, Ninjago.
Okay.
So you break through the prison system. You surrender. You break through. Jeff Fire saves your ass, and it's like you spend part of the level without weapons, trying to destroy Decepticons as you journey through and to find Zeta Prime's holding cell. But it's only a small part where you don't have any weapons. Like the game really feels. It's like the game really does feel insecure about having you armless, having you unarmed.
Well,
so.
And I guess to expand upon that, technically you're not completely armless, because if you play as Optimus, you do still have his big fuck you axe.
He does, yeah. But like every character has their melee weapon, but it's like, it's like you're without a gun,
right?
Something very useful from afar. And so it reminds me of that section. I think Nick would remember this from Colonial Marines, where you're weaponless and you're wading through water while a new xenotype, a new xenotype, xenomorph, xenomorph variation is stalking you.
I didn't know
I
didn't know that one comic was part of the Colonial Marines game.
the greatest, the most deadliest of the perfect organism, the xenotype. its power is to keep digging keep digging a hole of itself, because it feels the need to keep challenging goony beardmen on the internet.
Well, all right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. That's more of an in joke, but you know, it's fine. So it's like you get small parts like that, and you really don't feel like they're enough. Like they really don't. Like you really wish they were big parts, but no, you kind of just go back to let's shoot everything and then go back to point A from point A to point B. So War for Cybertron very much is a good game in the sense of it is a good blueprint of how this should work, and that's where Fall really shines, because Fall, in comparison, it's a lot more expressive and a lot more personal and expressive. Like the opening moments of the game is you on the Ark, attempting to reach the portal, while Megatron wants you and your friend's asses on platters, because it's Megatron. right.
Like he can never leave good enough alone.
It's crazy.
It's like you're witnessing people dying around you. Fall for Cybertron is very dour without being depressing. And that's the kind of the amazing thing about the game is it knows how to juggle between really fun Transformers action to people. Thousands of our people are dying. Our planet is going into hibernation to cure itself from a virus. We're not sure. We keep telling Optimus that the Ark might not have a chance to fly, but we don't want to break it to him because he might cry. It's
That's one way to put it. Don't Optimus. Should we tell Optimus?
Go ahead.
It's like, should we tell Optimus? No, let him have this moment. I don't want to break his heart. Optimus, the Ark's not gonna make it. Why would you tell me that?
So there's literally an audio log that you can get where it's basically Ratchet going. It's like Optimus Prime. We value him because he can run everywhere on determination and values. Unfortunately, we all run on Energon, and it's slowly running out. And literally, this war has not become a means to, this war will not end with all of us becoming one. It's all of us becoming none. It's like it really knows how to make that dour point, but at the same time, you're Optimus Prime controlling a giant, you're drawing a giant skyscraper-sized robot called
Metroplex.
Megaplex. Yeah, Metroplex.
Megaplex.
And Megaplex,
Metroplex, and also consider in mind that just for scale, Metroplex is the size of a skyscraper in relation to a transformer. So if we're putting to scale, so if let's say Optimus Prime is scaled to like a 6-foot human, then Metroplex is a skyscraper to Optimus Prime. But if Optimus Prime is in scale to like a 6-foot human, then Metroplex is he could like crush entire human cities with just stepping around in like a couple steps. So
yeah. So you're like the third chapter of the entire game is just watching Metroplex smash Decepticon bases. Because the Autobots get all the cool toys.
Decepticons, you may have had the cool toys last time, but not anymore. Now you had your Tripticon, now we have Metroplex. It's a shame they didn't fight.
Yeah, it is a shame. It's like you get really great moments like that, and then you get really great moments with other characters. You get to play as Jazz, which is essentially kind of a very simple stealth mechanic, but it's like, Jazz is the only black transformer who's qualified enough to use a zip line, and the reason why I have to say that is because he's the only one.
Jazz, the only character where a white man can actually voice a pretty good black voice. Troy Baker voiced Jazz in the games.
Yes. It's like, Cliff Jumper. He doesn't die, and he gets an entire section where you get to cloak and sneak around and all that stuff.
Though to be fair, the reason why Cliff Jumper doesn't die is because he's going to die in Prime.
That's true. Yes.
So
you can at least let me have this moment, Nick.
I like to imagine that when auditioning for Jazz, Troy Baker's like, okay, who am I playing? Jazz. Who? Jazz. You know. Oh, Jazz! He's one of those guys. What do you mean those guys? You know, he's a G.I. Joe. Just surrounded by a bunch of Jazz clones.
And it's great. It's like, I really like one of the best things I kind of like about the game is how they set up the Dinobots.
Yes.
It's Shockwave being more immoral than Jonathan Crane.
He's immoral, but at the same time, he's not our atheist.
It's like how did that Spider-Man thing go? It's like, oh, you could use your technology. It's like you choose your. It's like to use an inverse of that Spider-Man movie. It's like, so you can use your technology to create dinosaurs, yet you're doing it to disprove God. I don't want to create dinosaurs. I want to disprove God. It's like you get a lot of cool things. It's like, Grimlock. He's mentioned in the beginning of the game as being a sadist, and how Optimus Prime is like, yeah, he's one of our best fighters, but it might result in the death of us if we keep him around. And of course, you get to play as the Combaticons with Bruticus.
Yes. Great
But it's like,
design,
you
terrible
know-
toys.
That is true. Yes. Well, it's like there's a lot of Fall of Cybertron. You know, all of its levels are kind of dedicated on one character, and because they're dedicated on one character, they're allowed to play a lot with gimmicks and all that stuff, which makes the whole game feel very dynamic in that respect. And so, in short, if you want, like, I recommend you do play the two, but if you just want to play Fall, that's fine too, because Fall kind of makes a quick the advantages of both these games is that they're very simple plot wise, but you know it works for the games. And so you could just play Fall, and it's like Optimus Prime is like, Megatron did terrible things to the planet's core, so we gotta leave. Okay, now that you're caught up, yeah, we can get right to the action. And so, it's like, if you do want to skip the Fall, I mean, I guess I don't kind of blame you. You can, and overall, it's just two good games. You know, and it's kind of sad how much on one hand I can count the number of good Transformers games.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a shame. I mean, oh yeah. You got War for Cybertron Games. Completely different genre though, but Devastation is actually pretty good. That's
I've been playing Devastation. It's a really great beat 'em up.
Yeah, Devastation's good. I don't think Serena's here anymore. But Serena, if you ever watch this in the replay, or I'll just clip it into a 2 cents highlight video. If you want a good Transformers game, and since I know you like hack and slashes, try checking out Transformers Devastation. Yeah, I know you don't really. I know you're probably not going to care for the story, but it's a hack and slash game, so that's in your area.
It's created by Platinum. It's the
Yeah.
game that Hideki Kamiya worked on when he wasn't doing, when he was slacking on Bayonetta 3.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like that's a selling point right there. Transformers Devastation. It's just Bayonetta, but with Transformers. So, it's in your area, Serena. If you ever watch this in replay, or if this is in a highlight clip. But yeah, it is kind of a shame though about War for Cybertron, about the Transformer games, and Activision sucks. Fuck Activision. I hate them.
Hey guys, I gotta head off.
You're gonna head off now?
Yeah.
Alright.
Good night.
Alright.
Have a good night, Black Hole.
You too. Have a good night, everybody.
Alright. You have a good night.
Good night.
So now that I'm done boring everyone, you two can start with the big brain discussions.
First of all, your discussion was on Transformers. How the hell would we be bored?
Yes.
But like, I imagine if I speak about Transformers, it's like listening to someone talk about how to make molasses.
How dare you consider yourself someone who talks like they about like making molasses?
That is an insult to yourself, not.
Would you be bored by going into how the live-action Transformers movies were made? Would the behind-the-scenes documentaries about those movies bore you?
No. All I know is the whiplash that they. Wow, the pyramids are great. I'm crying from its beauty. A few hours later, I am directly below. Enemy scrotum.
Enemy scrotum.
Oh, that's great. No, it's fine. This is probably going to all be turned into a bunch of highlight videos, anyways, because, actually, first of all, I'm probably gonna take these two parts of streams, just upload it as one big giant video, so, because the fuck up Streamlabs had, or YouTube had, I don't know what happened. So, anyways, so we discussed a little bit, very briefly, on how the production of the games and how they wanted to adapt some stuff, and while also keep something new, but also same for older fans and stuff, and that's really brings up the question of adaptations and source material. So that will lead us into my topic, where we have a big brain, and I showed you guys in the back room. If you scroll up, my little picture that I use to portray my point is Pachabi. Pachabi, hypocrite that you are. You have based your entire Transformers figure critique on the basis of how flat the figure's profile is. And now that you have a figure that's as flat as my little sister, you have the audacity to complain about it. It's a minor qualm. It's not a deal breaker or anything like that. No, it is clear that I have defeated you.
You have defeated you in intellectual combat. Hand over your channel and your ass.
I made that a button for the stream.
No, it is clear that I have defeated you in intellectual combat. Hand over your channel and your ass.
I love that. I love Jobby. I chose the Bajabi for a reason, because in his reviews, for context, when he puts on the Optimus Prime mask, he's playing a character which is a hyperbolic take on a super Transformers fanatic, especially those who are of the partaking of G1. So. But I chose that picture for a reason, because this does go back to the idea of adaptations and source materials. So let me give you some context. So I chose this discussion because this piece flew off. This runner, whatever. The context for this was I was watching the trailer for the new He-Man show, not Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe. There's actually another He-Man show coming onto Netflix. Yeah, there are two He-Man shows on Netflix. There's Kevin Smith's one, which we've already discussed. It's terrible. Fuck that show, because of Tila. And then this one is a CGI He-Man show. Transformers is still on my mind. I'll get to it, how it relates. There's a new CGI He-Man show, and when I watched the trailer, I will fully admit, I am far more interested in that take on He-Man than Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe. One, because it's a brand new story. It's not a sequel or anything like that. And two, it has a much different tone, and it's introducing a lot more concepts and ideas. It has a lot more heavy emphasis on the technological aspect of He-Man, which I think some He-Man fans kind of forget. It's not just fantasy, there's also a level of science fiction as well in He-Man. I think some He-Man fans tend to forget that. and so this new CGI He-Man show is leaning a lot more into the science fiction part of He-Man, and I will fully admit that interests me a lot more. Not because I have a bias or anything like that, though maybe I do because Transformers is science fiction. It's mostly because this is a completely brand new take on He-Man, and that interests me. I want to see where they go with that. I will fully admit, I don't think I'll ever renew my Netflix account, because I got that solely for watching the He-Man show and marathoning through the War for Cybertron trilogy with you guys, and I never want to do that again. So I'll probably watch the new Netflix He-Man through questionable means. Wink, wink. Excuse me. This came because my reaction was like, I'm interested. I want to see where this is going. And apparently, according to the internet, if you're all the He-Man fans on the internet apparently telling me, no, fuck you. You're not supposed to have that opinion. You're supposed to hate it. You're supposed to hate both He-Man shows. But this new He-Man show hasn't even come out yet. What do you mean? No, you can't like it. It's not the He-Man show I remember. Where's the fantasy aspect? There's too little fantasy. This is bad. Okay. I mean, He-Man Adam still turns into He-Man the same way with the sword, the Master Sword or whatever it's called. The Sword of Power, and so that's magic right there. That's the fantasy aspect. It's not completely gone. No, you cannot like that this new He-Man show. I mean, it's not anything bad or anything. It's not a deal breaker. No, it is clear that I have defeated you in intellectual combat. Hand over your channel and your ass.
And your ass.
And so that really got me asking the question. So you want, because their reaction reminds me a lot of G1ers. And if you don't know what G1ers are, there are a certain aspect of Transformers fans that basically, if this does not resemble the 1984 Transformers cartoon, your opinion is wrong, fuck you. And to that I say, well, one, no, and two, I can like what I want, and three, just because it's not exactly like the 1984 Transformers cartoon doesn't mean it's bad. So, screw you guys. And so that really made me think about what it means to stick to source material and what makes a good adaptation. And this ultimately led to some discussions before we even streamed tonight, earlier this week, which led to its own debates on Spider-Man. Thankfully, Ninjato's asleep, so we won't go into that tangent again. No offense to Ninjato. It's just every time we bring up MCU Spider-Man, we stay there for hours just debating on that, and we're not going through that because we're already starting to reach the 2-hour mark for this new stream here. So I'm gonna try to keep this as condensed as possible, even though I'll probably go on tangents and rants like I am right now. So it made me think, what does it mean to stick to source material and good adaptation? So this also is, I'm also going to be taking into consideration a lot of the points you guys discussed earlier this week. And it really made me think, and is come to the conclusion that source material is a very loose definition, because source material can vary for different people. Because source material usually refers to what is the Transformers, or what is the version of this content I'm consuming that I grew up on, usually. And especially with Transformers, that varies a lot because there are so many different takes on Transformers. And that's also another thing that I think people tend to forget, how there is so many different takes on Transformers. So when it comes to source material, you can argue that there is a lot. There is so much source material because there are so many different versions of Transformers. You got G1, and you got anything related to G1, and that's the whole thing. And you got the anime adaptations. You got the Unicron trilogy. You got animated. You got the aligned continuity, etc. I mean, the TF Wiki exists for a reason. That's all I'm going to say about that. The TF Wiki exists for a reason. Certain mods of the TF Wiki, however, I have questionable thoughts about. But that's another topic.
David Wills, if you somehow stumble upon this small video, spend less time on your webcomic and do what you're responsible for.
Yeah, you're terrible webcomic. But that's a whole nother rant on Dave Wills. So like source material, it can vary. The TF Wiki exists for a reason, but usually for Transformers, when people refer to source material, they usually refer to G1, Generation 1. But even then, Generation 1 is a broad term, and the music stopped playing because we have been going on for a while now. So let me restart the music real quick. Play music.
Yeah, you're right. It is a broad term. In fact, I would argue what is considered G1 isn't actually the cartoon itself. It very much could just mean the Marvel comics it's based on, because Transformers as it's been formed was created as a means of Hasbro wanting to create a story around these characters, just so that you can, also the ultimate means of buying toys.
Right.
So they had Marvel comics, the illustrious, controversial Jim Shooter and Denny O'Neil, Dennis O'Neil, the man most famous for creating Ra's al Ghul and giving Speedy his heroin addiction.
Okay. Speedy has a heroin addiction.
I mean, yeah. Don't you fucking know his name?
Oh, well, that explains why Red Arrow acts the way he does. Jeez. I didn't know he had a heroin addiction.
That was the big part of the 70s when Green Lantern and Green Arrow crossed over. Their entire storyline revolved around the fact that Oliver Queen is a terrible role model because he didn't know that he's a terrible guardian because he didn't know that his young ward was taking hard drugs.
I'm just gonna post this.
We didn't want you to have to find out this way, Chungus.
Oh my god, I'm looking at the cover right now in the back room. That is Okay. That is a beautiful tangent right there. But yeah.
So it's like. Yeah, it's like they were the one, to finish this off really quick so that you can continue. They were essentially the ones to create the characters that we see. They were, they were the ones who turned Convoy, as we know him from Diaclone, to Optimus Prime proper.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't really quantify G1 as just being the 84 cartoon. as people like to think it is.
Right. And so, again, like you could argue that's the original source material, and even then, the Marvel Comics and the 1984 cartoon had some big deviations from each other. And so okay, so let's argue that for the sake of this current point, the source material is referring to the original 1984 Transformers cartoon. Okay, that's our source material, right? So that's our source material. And so when people say you should stick to the source material, they usually mean you gotta keep certain aspects of the 1984 Transformers cartoon in your new adaptations you have. And well, you could do that. That I don't completely disagree with that. It's just I disagree when it comes to the G1ers points. Let me just point out, being a passionate fan of G1 Transformers and saying that's your source material is, I personally say that is a differentiation from a G1er. A G1er is a Jobby's Transformers fanboy, but with a G1, the 1984 cartoon. That wasn't in the 1984 cartoon. No. So that's G1er in my definition. That's different from just being a fan of the G1 Transformers and saying that's the source material. And so okay, so you could stick to the source material, and I don't disagree with that. It's just again, source material can vary from people, especially with Transformers, considering there's so many different adaptations of it that people grew up on. And for example, me personally, even though I mostly viewed the 1984 Transformers cartoon as the main source material of G1 that I think adaptations should take elements from, I grew up on mostly the live-action Michael Bay movies. And so, for some people, well, one, I feel so sorry for them that that's their source material, but at the same time, that could be their source material. Again, I'm sorry, and if that's your source material, I question your capabilities of writing a good Transformers story. And no offense, it's just the movies suck, except Bumblebee. Bumblebee was great. Watch Bumblebee. And so that's source material, right? But then my point also extends onto what makes a good adaptation. And that's where we got into the whole debate with Ninjato on MCU Spider-Man, and we're not touching that tonight. But during that whole debate, thanks to Xenonic, really, who kind of brought this up, made me think, and for the most part, I kind of agree with his point that adaptations really vary on what it means to be good. And I think a good adaptation really just boils down to, is your version of the story good or not? Objectively good or not? Let's say you completely ignore the source material. You decide, okay, you know what? I'm gonna ignore every single Transformers media out there, and I just do my own thing. I'm ignoring everything that came before. I do my own thing. If the story is written competently and well enough, you could argue it's a good adaptation, maybe, but then at the same time you're purposely avoiding source material, and so good adaptations, it can, the definition varies, but I think, me personally, a good adaptation should be, you pay respects to the source material, you should do that, but you should still focus, more importantly, first of all, your first objective is to write a good story in general, objectively. And then your second objective is then you pay respect to source material. And that's my definition of what it means to be a good adaptation. So for Transformers, right? For Transformers, obviously I want a good, competent story first. And then you can go back and tie into source material. Well, but even then, certain things still kind of take a little priority here and there. It kind of varies, like plot wise, just focus on a good story first and then go to the source material. But then when it comes to like characters, then that's where your priorities start shifting a bit. Some characters you should probably stick to source material, and some characters you could probably do a little dodging here and there. It depends, but even then, those characters should still be competently written, right? So, okay, so the War for Cybertron trilogy, here we go. I don't consider that a good adaptation. There is a lot of hollow fan service, to say the least, that ties back to previous Transformers media. There's a bunch of stuff there that ties back to not just predominantly G1, but not just that, but also some of the later stuff, like the Allspark. The concept of the Allspark came from the live-action movies, and now that's a major part of Transformers media. But everything else is mostly revolving around like some of the G1 premises, like the War for Cybertron and stuff. But now you introduce the Allspark, and you could argue that's sticking. One could argue that is sort of sticking to the source material, but it's still a bad story. It's a terribly written show. All three shows or seasons, whatever, I don't know, how Netflix views it. Siege, Earthrise, Kingdom, all three terrible, bad. I hate them. And like the characters too, like Optimus Prime. So Optimus Prime, he's idealistic, he's optimistic and stuff. That's fine, but then they conflate idealism and optimism with complete idiocracy with Optimus Prime. That is the most incompetent version of Optimus Prime ever written, and honestly, he just pisses me off. Your characters could make actions based more on emotions than logic, right? That's fine, but it's still got to make sense for the story. You gotta tell me that they're acting kind of irrationally at the moment. Optimus Prime, however, he's acting irrationally all the time. He's a terrible fucking leader, and I don't really like that version of Optimus Prime. Me personally, I would rather prefer that Optimus Prime was not such an incompetent, bumbling fool of a leader, and so I don't really consider that a good adaptation. But let's say you decide to ignore that, and you decide, okay, I'm going to focus solely on the fact that this version of Optimus Prime is a bumbling idiot. That's fine, I don't like it, but okay, let's say you're gonna stick to that, right? And for the most part, the show did. Up until the very fucking end of Kingdom, where they pull this big Deus Ex Machina, and spoiler, Elita 1's ghost pretty much tells Optimus, oh no, before I said that you were a big fuck up, no, there was no other choice. Everything you did is perfectly justified. But the whole show's point was, no, everything he did was not justified. It was terrible. He was a bumbling idiot, and now you're just gonna say, oh no, it's okay, Optimus, you're fine. No. And so even if you decide to portray Optimus as a bumbling idiot, I still say that's a bad adaptation of Optimus because he's poorly written. Because the show's poorly written. Fuck the War for Cybertron trilogy. I hate it. Alright? So that's an example of a bad adaptation, in my opinion, right? What's a good adaptation? Well, obviously, pretty much do the opposite of War for Cybertron trilogy. Be competent written. And while I would rather have it that Optimus Prime is a competent leader, let's say that you decide to again go with the whole thing of Optimus Prime is a bumbling idiot and an idealistic moron as your version of Optimus Prime. As long as you stick to that idea, as long as you stick to it and you don't try to erase everything he did by saying, "Oh, it's fine, it's okay," and you stick to that, then while it's not my preferred Optimus Prime, one could argue that is a good adaptation of that character. Right? Good adaptations of Transformers stories can vary, but characters is where you have to really get kind of... you gotta focus a lot more on the characters when it comes to adapting them. And so... And that's just personality-wise, right? So you just as personality-wise, but also sticking to source material and good adaptations can also be surface-level stuff. So surface-level stuff, you still gotta keep it, in my opinion, recognizable as Transformers. Because you could have a really good written show and stuff, and you could have like, oh, this is fantastic, the characters are great. One question, are you sure this is Transformers? Yes, well, why do you ask? Well, like, there's not even a war. There's not even a war. This guy, this character, honestly, can be replaceable with a different character than Optimus Prime. But then, even then, that argument doesn't necessarily stick too well, because some of the best Transformers shows don't even revolve around the war. Rescue Bots.
A show that is too good. It's way better than it needed to be.
It does not deserve to be as good as it is what it is, and I love Rescue Bots. And Rescue Bots doesn't even revolve around the war. Well,
barely even Optimus.
The war for Cybertron is really just for context of the background for why the Rescue Bots are on Earth in the first place. And then everything else after that just does its own separate thing.
And to put it in perspective, the war technically ended in G1 after the movie.
Yeah, technically the war ended, and so again, like what it means to be a good adaptation, again, it varies. It honestly just depends on, most importantly, is it written competently? But then source material stuff and good adaptations can, again, for the surface level stuff, okay, so like story-wise, you have a lot of leeway considering how many drastically different takes on Transformers there are. I would say, at least aesthetically, that's on the surface level. Aesthetically, that's where I say probably stick to the source material, or at least stick to. But even then, source material can vary. So, what I've come to believe is what makes a good adaptation is you take elements. A good adaptation and sticking to source material, in my opinion, has now become, okay, what do all the highly praised and objectively good versions of all these different takes on Transformers have in common? What is like a universal factor in all of these different types of media that makes them good? Okay, you find out what those are, okay, and you stick to that. You stick to what makes them good.
Even then, from what I've seen, a lot of Transformers shows kind of have different points to where it has different points to its there's some of the positives. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not just enough of going, this show did this thing, so we should do this thing. For instance, Armada.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say. Oh,
Well, I wasn't necessarily trying to say, okay, what did this show do to make it successful? Okay, copy that more or less, but more or less like what is a common trait these shows have that make them good, objectively speaking, and not just surface level stuff like what makes them good for like story wise and like good versions of the characters, like because despite the different takes, usually there is a common factor in all of them. But I'm not asking Transformers to be like, okay, so Aldis versus Optimus Prime, he is the stoic, super stoic, heroic leader that gives grandiose speeches. Okay, you gotta do that in every single version of Optimus Prime from now on. No, I'm not asking for that. Just what is like a good trait for Optimus that all these have that make them considered good? And even then that can kind of vary. In my opinion, I think the big soul trait you have to keep in mind is he's the good guy. He's heroic. His definition of heroism can change here and there. You could have Basalt Optimus Prime from the live action movies, but there's still gotta be a semblance of heroism in your take on Optimus Prime.
well, that's true, and I guess it does come to an interesting. It does come at sort of an interesting discussion of, but yeah, like you change the character, but are they really? They do kind of represent the idea. They kind of represent what we originally thought this character was. After all, an example I was going to use is, of course, the famous example is Armada Starscream.
Mm-hmm.
He goes from it's like he defies the expectation that Starscream, even though he is not my Starscream, he defies the expectation that Starscream is nothing but a sniveling power hungry weasel.
Mm-hmm.
And is a man who has a sense of dignity to him. He does share other versions of Starscream where he hates Megatron to a fault.
Yeah.
But instead of the entire point of he hates Megatron because he wants the power that Megatron holds, he hates Megatron because he doesn't think he's because he doesn't think he's a competent leader.
Right.
And so there is that constant there where Starscream has his antagonism toward. I'm not sure if I'm using this right. Like antagonism, I guess. I'm not sure if that's a word. Towards
I think that word could work. Maybe. Antagonism. I think that works towards Megatron, and their relationship. What'd you say, Nick?
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
Oh.
And so it does create that thing where there is constant between Armada Starscream and G1 Starscream, but there's a variable in that equation which changes.
Mm-hmm.
To where in the end, Starscream doesn't die. Like in Armada, Starscream doesn't die because he tasted power and he got bit in the ass. Starscream died because he did what was good.
Right. Like Armada Starscream really his entire character is heavily based off of Dinobot from Beast Wars. They share a lot of similar traits. Albeit Starscream doesn't have too much of a hard-on for honor as much as Dinobot. But like there's still like a lot of similarities shared between the two characters.
So it's like, so it kind of becomes less of a what's the term? Mutual, like the two doesn't become mutually exclusive from each other. Mutually exclusive. From each other. What, like Armada Starscream existing does not make it, because he does not, because it doesn't really follow the source material framework that G1 put out. It doesn't make it automatically bad. It's good because Starscream is made to be a good character before he's made to be recognizable.
Right. And so again, like, and so sticking to source material and being a good adaptation, it varies a lot. Like, just because you don't stick to source material doesn't make it necessarily a bad adaptation. Like, and this discussion doesn't just have to stick with Transformers. I'm just using Transformers as an example, especially Transformers, considering how many different takes there are on this franchise, on this one type of idea of Autobots versus Decepticons, or just a good group of good robots versus bad robots. And so there's all these different takes on it, and so but again, this doesn't just have to stick with Transformers. Like this discussion of source material and good adaptations can apply to a lot of things. That's how we got into that hours-long debate with Ninjato on MCU Spider-Man on being a good adaptation of the character. And we had our differences and qualms and all that, but the main point is like this. Again, like this, the discussion. What makes a good adaptation and sticking to source material doesn't have to be necessarily, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? The terms they don't have to be mutually together to make a good story. But I'm stumbling upon my words right now. Because basically, long story short, what I'm trying to say is, not sticking to source material does not make a bad adaptation, and source material can vary from people to people, and ultimately,
if you're taking a character or setting, the importance is that you maintain the general idea. It's like this character stands for these things, like their backstory or their relationships can differ, but so long as like Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way, you can do what you want with him to an extent, or this character or that character, or this setting or that setting. It doesn't have to be the same thing every single time they reboot it or whatever.
Right. But even then, like Armada Starscream, he doesn't necessarily fit them all. Like, okay, like here's an interesting idea. Here's an interesting idea. Just to have an example different from Transformers. Let's say, okay, let's bring in DC's the DC Extended Universe take on Superman from Man of Steel and all those movies following that, in that shared universe. We all say that that version of Superman is a bad version of Superman, because he doesn't feel like, because we say he doesn't feel like Superman and stuff. Okay, so let's take our entire discussion when we just talked about and bring it to this. So let's say that Superman, the idea of Zack Snyder's Superman remains the same. We make that same kind of morally ambiguous side to a Superman story. Let's take that same idea. Can that idea be turned into a good adaptation of Superman?
Yes, because I could say yes because it works entirely on context. Superman Red Sun is made a better story by the fact that it doesn't try to go the kind of stupid, unbelievable route that Superman will suddenly become a big menace because people with powers will abuse them and yada yada yada. It kind of explores the idea of Superman's upbringing informed his entire character. And so if you change his character from being a farm boy of Kansas to being a farm boy of Ukraine, like he goes from all American boy to Russian super weapon. Because you're taking that one element of the character and you're adding the variable to it.
Okay, so yeah, that was an interesting question. So, but yeah, that shows you that, again, you can have different takes on a character or story and idea, but what makes them good, again, I think relies mostly on, are they actually written and portrayed competently. You could have a morally ambiguous Superman and a morally gray Superman story that's a lot more darker and stuff, but according to Nod, it can be done well, and you could argue that is a good adaptation of Superman. You could argue that, but even then, that's still gonna raise some eyebrows with fans of Superman. And so Optimus. So let's go back to Transformers. Okay, so let's take Bath Salt's Optimus Prime from the live action movie. And we joke about Optimus Prime being on bath salts in this movie because he's just killing everything that moves. that whole scene in Dark of the Moon where he just flies down and destroys all the Decepticons on that street. That's just Optimus Prime going on a murder spree. Just Optimus, no, please, it's my Sideswipe. Ah! So that's why Sideswipe wasn't in the fourth movie. But okay, so let's say that you wanted to have Murder Prime, as people like to call him. He is a far more different departure than even the War for Cybertron trilogy's take on Optimus Prime. Because at least, even though in the War for Cybertron trilogy, Optimus Prime is a bumbling fucking retard, and I do not like that about him, he still has a semblance of heroism, in a sense. The live-action Optimus Prime lost all heroism in the fourth movie when he killed a human finally. And then in the fifth movie, he's parading around pretending to be a hero, even though he's continuing to just kill everything that moves. But okay, so let's say. Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you think Murder Prime's biggest problem is that he's written inconsistently?
Probably, like, because like this is the same. Because Optimus Prime, at the end of each Transformers movie, he gives this rousing speech of how, oh, I will never forsake humanity. We must protect Earth. And he goes around parading the idea of freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And yet, when it comes to, but that's just words. Whenever it comes to action, he's on bath salts all the time. So you could, okay, so let's take so here's a thought experiment. Let's take Murder Prime, right? Let's take the idea of Murder Prime, as people like to call him, Bath Salts Optimus Prime. Can we make that Optimus Prime a good adaptation of that character?
Maybe.
He would be such a drastic departure from the Optimus Prime that we know, but can we still make him somewhat of a good adaptation? Because again, going on our definitions of what makes a good adaptation, of how you really need to focus more on, is he a competently written character? Can we take that idea and make him competently written?
Well, yeah. I think something I wanted to bring up is ultimately, like, one of the ideas for what makes a good adaptation is if you just like watching it.
Yeah, you could do that, but then again, like, what you enjoy watching, other people may find terrible. Like people on the internet, as far as seeing, they have been singing the praises of the War for Cybertron trilogy. They're like, man, this is a great show. I enjoyed it, but me personally, I just can't help but look at its faults and go, no, this is fucking shit. It belongs in the dumpster and deserves to be burnt and buried. I hate it.
And that makes me think that maybe there's no objective way to call something a good adaptation, and that it will always be like subjective based on how a person feels about it.
Maybe. I don't. I'm kind of on the fence on that idea.
I can say that there is a bit of an objective sense, just out of a sense of, does this fit the spirit of the franchise it's based on? So a bit of a tangent here, because we're talking about Transformers, and we need to talk about. I want to talk about its cousin, Gundam.
Okay.
It's like a lot of people, from America to Japan, love Seed very much. I don't understand why. I think it's a combination of the murder, the giant titties, and Fujoshis, but that's just me. But it's like a lot of Gundam Seed bits on notions made in, like, a lot of ideas and notions that were established in other Gundam shows. And putting that into account, not just because and Changus knows this because I forced him through it. He's the group that, like, taking into the account that the villains are wildly shooting their guns in a colony, when in any other in any other Gundam show, that's a guaranteed mark of complete massacre of people. If you cause a hole right in the colony through laser beam, people are dead.
Kiriyama, right? That's the character. I don't care about Gundam.
Yeah.
I can't use my beam weapons. I'm gonna shoot more holes in the colony. Kira, everyone fucking else is using the beam weapons. Do you see how many holes are already in the colony? The colony's a lost cause. Just go ham. People are probably already dead. Like, just everyone's in the colony that's not in a mobile suit or in a ship is probably dead now. Just fuck it. Just go ham.
So it's like that pisses me off because that pisses me off because it doesn't feel faithful to other source, other adaptations, including the original, in which these ideas have been pounded into my head that this should mean something like this. And since C takes a lot from the original, it shouldn't be making that problem. But I think right there, even with that argument I can make, I still yet to have made an objective argument to that, because even when they said that we shouldn't shoot in the colony because everything got destroyed. It's more of lip service than anything, because nothing bad really happens to it other than Kira being sucked out into the vastness of space. There's a sense of not being faithful to the work, while at the same time having a sense of ground. Well, not having a sense of solid within your writing that early parts of Seed had.
I think this stuff also bleeds into the validity of the interpretation. So you're taking this material and you're taking a new interpretation on it. Two seasons which got a lot of backlash in the Digimon community were seasons 4 and season 6, which were Frontier and Cross Wars, and they did away with fundamental aspects of Digimon. Frontier does not have partner Digimon. The main characters become Digimon like Power Rangers or Kamen Rider. And that, while Season 6 did away with levels and evolution, instead of opting for Digi-crossing, where you just take Digimon and you slap them together like bits and pieces. They're still Digimon. Digimon exist. It is set in a digital world. It's just a different interpretation on the formula. But it's not an adaptation of any pre-existing source material.
So those are different interpretations. So what is the difference between an adaptation and an interpretation then?
I think an adaptation is like you have pre-existing source material. Well then, an interpretation is you're making something original from the idea.
Well, that can apply to Transformers as well. One could argue a lot of its different takes are more different interpretations.
It bleeds into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Discussion of adaptation.
Yeah. So interpretation and adaptation, overall, this is a very big topic that really makes you think, and it really does show how people's definitions of this kind of idea varies, and you know, maybe Xenonic has a point. Maybe there's a lot of subjectivity to it. I like to think I'd like to think at the very least there should be at least some level of objectivity, in my opinion. Like, I think again, like, I think if your version interpretation adaptation is written competently, then I will probably watch it, even if it is. I'll probably enjoy it, or at least be very invested in it, even if it is such a drastic take. But I would, I guess, but then, like, I guess me, subjectively, there was a bug in my bin full of, stuff, from nipping and stuff I guess subjectively, I would like to think that they should at least stick to something that keeps, I guess, the spirit of the source material. So like, if I think that the source material for Transformers is the 1984 cartoon, then I would like to think that a good adaptation or a good interpretation has elements that keep true to the spirit of what was in the 1984 cartoon. Like, Optimus Prime should be heroic. He should be he's usually in a leadership position, and you know, whether he's, you know, a competent leader, a father figure, or, well, a bumbling moron like in the War for Cybertron trilogy, I think certain aspects should still be there. You know, he should turn into a red and blue truck, and he has a semblance of heroism. That's and then like Megatron is. I like to think he could have a lot more leniency, because really Megatron, what makes him good is he a good antagonist or not, in my opinion. And even because again, like, there are a lot more different takes on Megatron than Optimus Prime.
Jangus, quick question. You were saying subjectivity. But like, you flubbed it up. And what was the flub?
I was going to say subjectively, but I said
subjectivity.
Yes. It's my brain lagging. I think it's my brain lagging. All right. I'm pretty sure throughout my childhood I went undiagnosed for some level on the spectrum, but
Just gotta post this.
Oh, you got another meme. Oh, that is Ninjato and Kama are gonna come in like, what is that supposed to mean? Anyways, I've been going on this topic long enough now.
Actually, there's one thing I want to say about this topic really quick.
Okay.
I think the one thing that could probably say is a bad adaptation really is if it's insulting. Like like it has contempt for the source material.
Yeah, if something is written to have contempt for source material, then I would argue that, yeah, that is a bad adaptation. Like if okay, so like, let's say okay, so fuck it, the War for Cybertron trilogy. I don't know what was going on behind their minds. Rodimus Primal did some interviews with FJ DeSanto, the showrunner, but then even then the showrunner can be like saying one thing to him, but leaving things out from behind the scenes and stuff. Who knows what really happened? All we can go by is really what they say. But like, okay, so like based on the interviews I've seen, they are trying to pay respects. Me personally, I think they ruined. They did not. At least, trying and actually doing it, paying respects to source material are two different things. I think they did not pay respect, but you could say they tried. But let's say that but that's just based on FJ DeSanto's word, right? But let's say it comes out that they purposely written the show in a way that I hate because they absolutely despise the source material, which I would like to think they're referring to the 1984 Transformers cartoon, then I would argue that's a bad adaptation or a bad interpretation because you written it purposely to say fuck you. And I don't know how I feel about that. It could be, and then even again, like it could be a competently written show or whatever, but the fact that it was written solely to say "fuck you" is like, I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of not cool. No. Yes. But anyways, yeah, I think I've been talking a long time on this topic. Because this really is a big brain topic. Because again, like just what I'm repeating myself. The ideas can vary from people to people, and especially with Transformers, considering there's just so many different adaptations. And but since we're on a topic of like different takes on Transformers, I think this can apply to Nick's topic coming up, because despite being so many different takes, and you could argue that it's good or bad, these different takes on Transformers, one thing that you can't dispute is that despite its flubs and high points and low points, especially its low points, Transformers has still found a way to remain relevant in pop culture. So that leads to Nick's topic, how Transformers has stayed relevant. So take the floor.
So, in the 80s, there were like four great cartoons that that was like the major pop culture they became pop culture icons through them. That's G.I. Joe, He-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Transformers. Two of them are barely clinging on to relevancy, and only one is I'd say is a lot more relevant in pop culture than the other. And that is Transformers. And and there could be a lot of factors into this. One I actually think is the fact that Optimus died. I'm actually going somewhere with this. And that's because when that happened in 86, that actually traumatized a lot of kids. To the point where they even had to change, because they were gonna kill off Duke in the G.I. Joe movie.
That's right.
But they decided, okay, we don't want to traumatize any more kids, so we're just gonna say that Duke go into a coma. But we already animated. We'll say he went to a coma. People will cry just as hard. Cry just as hard when people go into comas.
But sir, we already animated a whole sequence of the bullet going through his heart in slow motion. I don't care, he's in a coma.
Give him an Iron Man respirator. I think because that caused like that happened. I think that caused people to get really attached to Transformers. And why there was always like this there was like these people trying to maintain Transformers as a pop culture idea. And I think it's because of the movie we actually have G1ers. Because of how because of that happening in the movie, and like that traumatized them, they wanted to preserve Optimus for as long as they can, to the point where they don't want anything to change about it. And I think that even includes their perception of Optimus. Because like Optimus, like in the G1 cartoon, acts very differently from like more modern depictions of Optimus.
Right.
And I think that's because they don't want to do anything that might cause the same effect of the '86 movie again.
That's a take I have not heard before, actually. Continue.
So, and I think because of that, because of Optimus dying, that made people see Optimus as more than like the coolest, the new cool toy of '84, and that made people think, oh my god, my favorite characters can die. I want to preserve them for as long as I can. And I think that made Transformers relevant, because everyone wants to make sure Optimus doesn't die again. Despite him dying all the fucking time.
I don't want Optimus.
But they don't want Optimus to go away, I think.
But I don't want Optimus to Alphatron. But I don't want to die. Well, that's too bad, son, because you're going to die all the time. No!
Why am I going though? I like that. I tried to do Optimus, but I ended up doing Megatron, so I saved it.
But that's actually an interesting thing. I never thought of it that way before. The idea of that's kind of why Optimus isn't interpreted the way he is nowadays. That's interesting.
Another reason why Transformers remain so popular is robots. They're fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is true.
That's it.
Yeah, I think you just need to say robots. Because robots are fucking cool for that reason.
Well, some people aren't too big into robots or mecha. Serena, yes, I'm calling her out.
Ha!
I don't care if she calls me an asshole. I'm calling her out.
I'm gonna call you out, Serena, because every time you talk about what you like, we don't stand there and say we don't like this. Like,
we don't leave when you say talk about stuff you like.
I try to watch all your Sailor Moon marathons in Diva server. I stick through that most of the time. It's not really my thing, but at least I stick through it. You just leave.
I just sit here wondering, how can I connect this to Digimon? So I don't watch the Sailor Moon things. There's no Sailor Moon Digimon, but there is a Precure Digimon.
And what I think is another reason for Transformers being so popular is because, well, it comes in one of the themes they are always transforming.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. They like one of the things that make them endure with toys, as sort of the same reason I say they make really great games, is their gimmick is they transform.
Yeah.
You have two toys in one right there.
Yeah. You have two. It's three. You got a car, a robot, and a puzzle.
It was such a popular idea that Gundam was like, oh hey, we could do that, right? I don't know. The model kits.
We could do that, right?
I don't know. The model kits for the Zeta are gonna kind of vary, and apparently, according to Not, they aren't gonna get good till recently. Too bad.
And that's why Transformers is at least more popular than Gundam.
I love you too much to make you take back that statement. No, I'm kidding.
But not just like that they're able to transform, but like physically. Although again, that helps the toys.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now I gotta do this point. Just the toys again, transforming. Like it's such a it never gets old.
Hmm.
Okay, so like a Marvel Legends action figure,
Mm-hmm.
like although like they're fun to collect because you're getting an action figure of the same character. If they were they basically have the same like functions and stuff. Like they have the same amount of articulation. Some might have different accessories, but eventually, it's always gonna be kind of like, do you really need all of them? Because it's gonna feel like you're gonna have the same one. With Transformers, every one is barring repaints,
Retools.
Starscream.
Repaints, retools,
Looks at Starscream. Looks like Starscream.
Well, it doesn't also just apply to Starscream. It's like
But Changus, let's be honest. Let's look at Starscream.
Do you know how many
but,
repaints of Optimus there are as well?
Yes, but at least when there's a repaint of Optimus, I'm not being lied to and saying it's a different character.
What about Ultra Magnus whenever he's repainted as a white Optimus?
That's a white Optimus. Why do you think in the cartoon they have to give him they don't make him look like white Optimus? But like every toy is like a different transformation, a different vehicle, a different robot. And the best ones allow you to transform it in how you want to transform it. Like, you don't have to just follow the instructions. Like, if you want to do the doors first, you do the doors first. If you want to do the doors last, you do the doors last. And, like, you're always doing something different with the toys. I think that also helps it as well. And, okay, and I was saying, they don't just transform, physically, but, the idea of Transformers is, like, it's always changing, because, G1 is a very different, show than Cyberverse. And that's different from Beast Wars, and that's different from Animated, and that's different from the Unicron trilogy. Every Transformers show, and every other piece of media, you're not getting the same thing over and over again, even if it's a sequel to something. Like, Beast Machines, despite being a sequel to Beast Wars, is feels like a completely different experience.
Kimball Slice Optimus Prime.
Yep. And like, it's always and I think because you're always getting something different, it always hooks different people, and that what helps it keep going, because it's not the same. You're not watching the same thing over and over again. And I think what also helps it is that it's heavy sci-fi. Because I think, like, one of the things that hurts G.I. Joe is that it, I hate to say it, but, like, because it's, like, a army kind of theme, not everyone, that's not gonna, like, because it always depending on how people feel about, like, the military and stuff like that, it's not gonna hook a lot of people, and it's always gonna catch fewer and fewer people by the years. Unfortunately, despite liking G.I. Joe, Transformers, it's always timeless. And I think, and again, because it's always changing, it always changes for what it needs to be at the time.
For better or worse?
For better or for worse. For better, looks at animated. For worse, looks at War for Cybertron trilogy.
For better, animated, Cyberverse, Prime was okay. Cybertron was fun. For worse, wow.
Energon.
Well, worse. Wow. I didn't think a show could be worse than Energon. I was wrong. Thanks, Netflix. Thanks, Rooster
For
Teeth.
better, More Than Meets the Eye. For worse, Lost Light. For better, for better, the Marvel comic. For worse, Kiss Players.
Oh God, Kiss Players. when even Japan goes, whoa!
What the fuck? No!
What are you doing there?
That's gotta say something.
Yeah, you're right. Things get worse when, like when Hot Rod, who didn't kill Optimus, did kill Galvatron by throwing him out of.
Kiss Players is not canon.
It is unfortunately a canon, and I hate it for.
I refuse to believe that a huge part of the world building of Kiss Players is because when Rodimus Prime threw Galvatron out of Unicron all the way from Cybertron, he somehow crashed into Earth, specifically on Tokyo, killing thousands of people, and then going to Char. Okay.
And then that somehow results in nightmare sexual demons in exploiting young children that are supposed to be 21.
Why does the tongue look like that? I didn't even realize what the tongue looked like until you idiots pointed it out, you jerks!
I'm sorry.
You let me be innocent!
It's like, wow, that's a pretty long tongue. Everyone else, that's a very phallic-looking tongue. Why?
Like, Nick, I thought you would have. Nick, I thought you would. Like, I thought you would have easily identified. After all, your favorite alien creature has a phallic on its head.
See, now that's just racist.
Now, Xenonic, we're not talking to you. We're talking to the fleshling behind you.
What? Look behind me. Tangus, don't even joke about that. You know I'm still the only one in my hive.
You know what I meant. Okay.
Where were we?
Uh,
Alright, we were talking about how fucking awful Kiss Players was for this brief tangent. That's a bad adaptation, because you make fucking Optimus a pedophile.
yeah.
That's a bad adaptation.
Yeah. Here's how you already make a bad adaptation. Yeah. Don't make Optimus a creep.
What's worse is that it's Marissa Fairborn, and by this time she should already be an adult.
Why is Marissa Fairborn a teenage Japanese school girl?
Don't know.
But guys, you don't understand. Optimus Prime, he rapes, but he saves.
You jerk. You jerk, you made me smile. I shouldn't be smiling at that.
That's one of my favorite Dave Chappelle jokes, but oh my god, I never thought I would ever hear that with Optimus Prime, though.
And like, there's so many ideas that could make Transformers timeless. One of the things I think helps is, despite the quality, the live action movies did make fucking huge amounts of money.
Yeah, and
that really did help, like, with pop culture status.
Yeah, it's a shame that that's become like one of the most well-known versions of Transformers, but like at the same time, you can't dispute that really did wonders for keeping Transformers relevant.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Michael Bay. You managed to keep Optimus Prime relevant by making a heroin addict like Speedy.
I'm sorry, Charles.
I'm sorry, John.
I love that image.
I'm sorry, Cliff Jumper.
But anyway, what do you what do you guys think? What do you guys think helps with the time keep Transformers relevant?
I mean, I mostly agree with pretty much everything you said. I think what people need to realize, and this is directed towards G1ers, is that Transformers changing and adapting with different versions and interpretations has helped keep it relevant. And again, whether the adaptation is good or bad is, that's going to lead again into that big topic we just came out of, and we're trying to discuss what keeps Transformers relevant. But I think I think again, like what you said, people need to understand, the idea of Transformers always changing and adapting and having different interpretations has kept it relevant. And you know, well, that has also been a thing for other franchises. There's just I don't know, there's something about Transformers though that when they do it, like when they do it, they somehow most of the time stick the landing, and then for other franchises, it can vary. Like you have all these different G.I. Joe shows, but then why is G.I. Joe still not as popular as Transformers? And, you know, that's a whole nother discussion right there. And, well, not really, but like again, like there's a lot of things. There's a lot of variables there, I think. But I think really the biggest one is the idea of Transformers just always changing and evolving and adapting. And I think that's, you know, I think that it's no coincidence, considering that is like a major like aspect of the franchise, both in media and I guess speaking from a meta point of view, like you know, it's no coincidence that Transformers, a show about, well, literally transforming and changing, transforms and changes. So I think, you know, so I think that definitely helps. Like okay, so like, and there's also another thing about. Okay, we had a long night discussion with Gojira, Nick. We were talking about like Transformers and stuff. I think it was fresh off of the live action movie marathon, and we were talking about how unhappy we were with the current state of Transformers media. How we said it's not really our forte. I don't think this is necessarily good. You know, this isn't really good. But I remember telling Gojira that night that despite the state of Transformers media it's in, I still think that this franchise will continue to remain. Because again, it's always changing, it's always adapting, and the thing about Hasbro is, at the end of the day, it's a toy company. It wants to make money off of selling toys. You know, like you know, there's some problems with Hasbro at the moment. There's a whole stream Micah did about, you know, Hasbro hates us, and you know, maybe they do hate us, but
maybe.
Oh, well, but
thing is, we gotta be honest. Hasbro hates us.
Why won't you just let me live my fantasies, Xeno Nick?
No.
Xeno Nick, I'm questioning our
For you
friendship.
guys to hell?
I was surprised you didn't say questioning our friendship.
Xeno Nick,
I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to welcome you guys to hell. Down here, our companies hate us, and we keep buying their crap because there's no alternative.
Exactly.
Well, Transformers, there is an alternative, but they're super fucking expensive. Hey!
And they keep getting sued.
And they keep getting more expensive, and the companies keep changing names, and that leads to a whole different problem, because third-party Transformers are a completely different rabbit hole. Like, I don't know. Is there such thing as third-party Gunpla?
At the moment, no, because the way copyright laws in Japan works, that if it looks if they suspect that you're stealing their intellectual property, the one making the claim has full rights to cease and desist without warning, without just cause.
Ah, that explains why all those third-party Transformers companies keep getting busted.
There is no such thing as a copyright system in Japan. It's a sticky note that says it should exist here.
There is no copyright in Japan. It's just, hey, that's our stuff. Fuck you. You're going down. It's no. But you see, it's third-party Transformers is a weird thing because third-party Transformers just constantly runs on the logic of the Austin Powers gag, run! It's Godzilla! It looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright laws, it's not. Still, we should run like it is, but it isn't.
So that Japan has strict laws to protect the IPs. They don't have any laws to protect you from those big companies.
Yeah.
They let the companies do a lot. They have laws helping the companies absolutely screw people over.
So
that's what I mentioned. Yeah, that's what I mentioned with the whole third party thing. Is even right. They're allowed impunity to just go around saying, "Yeah, you stole my stuff. I'm going to strike you down."
Wow. Okay, so that's okay, so we can mark that as a reason why America's better than Japan. At least we have some copyright laws. Whether they're good or not is up to question, but at least we do have them. Okay. But going back to Transformers, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say other than I mostly just agree with what you said about why Transformers is relevant, Nick. Unless you got anything else you want to tell us?
Anyone else have any ideas?
Well, no. You both said succinctly what I would have said, so I'm left speechless.
SGD?
I think the themes of what Transformers represents at times are also a big thing. It's always this clear good and evil battle. Themes are the themes of something are a major part of how it becomes ingrained in the public consciousness.
That's why someone that's why someone like an Optimus Prime is often compared to a Superman, because they both carry the ideals of freedom and peace.
Well, certain versions of Optimus, and then there's a live-action Optimus from the Bayverse, which is, okay, we take Kira from Gundam Seed, right? Yeah, okay, take everything about him, apply to Optimus, yeah. Drugs. What? You heard me, drugs. We need to make Optimus Prime just coked out of his mind.
Changus, I'll tell you what. The Bayformers would be much better if there were just tons of scenes where Optimus Prime tells people he doesn't want to shoot them while he's shooting them.
I can't use my beam cannon. I'm gonna shoot holes in the colony. Kira, look around you. The colony's a lost cause. Might as well just go ham. Goodness, stop being a pussy, Kira.
Well, no, it's later on. You're gonna see. It's like, oh, people, drop down your weapons. This fighting is pointless. And it's like just Kira has already wiped out half the battlefield already.
I mean,
I want to see an Optimus Prime that's just that.
I mean, episode 3 of Gundam Seeds already. Just like, I don't want to get into Gundam. Get into Gundam. Okay. Just like that? Yeah, just like that. You're not gonna argue? No. But you just said you don't want to get into the Gundam. I don't. Then why are you getting into it? You're not even being Shinji from Ava, where you're actually actively not trying to get into it. You just get into it. What are you trying to prove here, Kira? We gotta figure out when all of us are available again to continue watching that terrible Gundam show. Like you told me and Ninjago that like it's promising at first, but then then there's going to be a moment where just everything hits the shitter. Like we're on episode 3 and I already hate this show.
It's because you already know of its expectation. You know what? Let's finish this show really quick, before we start getting into this.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We could go on Gundam Seed another time. That's just. But okay. So yeah, I think this is it. I think we've finally hit that point where we don't really have much else to talk about. This second stream has been going on for more than 3 hours. So when I combine the first part and this part together, that's gonna be like almost like a 3.5 hour stream right there. So that's still a new record. Congratulations, guys! We've streamed for only 4.5 hours! A new record! Yeah! What was the record before? 12 hours.
Did we really stream 12 hours?
No, so on the second channel, I think it was the filming stream for when I was attempting to film Inglewood for the 2 cents video on stream. That went on for like 7 hours, cause halfway through I just gave up. Like, okay, this isn't working. Fuck it. I'll just film it another time. And then we just spent the rest of the night just talking about Transformers again. That's how it usually goes. Okay, so I'm just gonna deafen you guys while I do an outro. Okay, so that was another long stream right here. We had when this gets combined with the first part, it'll be even longer. But there was a hiccup. I do not know what the hell happened though. That was weird. We just disconnected. Like it wasn't even an internet thing. Like the Wi-Fi was still connected. I was still connected to the internet. So it was either a YouTube thing or a Streamlabs thing, a OBS thing. I don't know, but either way, that was a hiccup. So I don't know. I'll see if I can avoid that next week. So next Saturday is again another 2 cents stream. Maybe we'll keep it shorter this time. And to be fair, this stream was a bit long because we got into a really big discussion on my topic on, you know, source material and adaptations, and that was a big thing. That was a big topic that just got expanded upon it, and it really made us think. And that's what I like to do with 2 cents. It's not just, you know, like, yeah, you know, 2 cents, you know, I could give my opinion and stuff, and I could give reviews and stuff. 2 cents reviews exist for a reason. I have the Inglewood video up. But also, this is also a chance to really give an opinion, but also at the same time make us think. Give us a big brain moment. Make us think about stuff like what does it really mean to be a good adaptation? And we had a lot of interesting discussions going on there, and ultimately the answer wasn't as conclusive as I thought it would be. But that just shows you that, you know, that's us putting on our thinking caps and being big brains right there. So I'll try to segment this into a bunch of 2 cents highlight videos, if possible. It's much easier to edit than 2 cents review videos where I, you know, film myself, because that apparently does a number on my computer. Whatever. But yeah, so this was 2 cents live, the Transformers special. So I will see you all next Saturday for the next 2 cents stream. Hopefully we will have a little shorter time, but until then, I'll see you then. And just remember, guys, you got the touch.
You got the power. It's in